Well, happy Friday, everyone. You know what that means. Another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I am here to help answer your lawn care questions. If this is the first time you are gracing us with your presence, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works, really simple. On your screen, you will see a chat box. In that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care. Really happy to be back, guys. It was a fun time hanging out with seeing old friends at the martial arts event this past weekend. But glad to be back in the saddle. Glad to be back in the chair on a Friday night. Hopefully everyone is doing well, enjoying some of these cooler temperatures that we're getting. As always, we're coming to you guys live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and as well as Instagram. Instagram, you guys aren't integrated into the live stream software, so you're not going to be able to see stuff that I share. But if you have questions or whatever, and you want to pose those, feel free to drop those in the chat, and I'll bounce back and forth between you guys and the kind folks on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. All right, so let's start it off with a bang. We got Archie dropping a super chat. Thank you so much, Archie. Really do appreciate it. Thank you for setting the right tone.
Super chat received.
He says, "Wake up, LG." See, why are you guys messing with LG? It's too early in the evening. Too early in the evening for that. But I do appreciate it, Archie. Thank you for the super chat. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it, guys. It's been interesting. So the cooler temps is nice because you can go out there and you can mow, you can work in the lawn. It's a great time of year to do that. But if you have warm season turf like Bermuda, like what I have, it's starting to lose its color. The pop is starting to go away. I took a picture the other day, yesterday, and it's paining me a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety. You can see how the back lawn is looking. I mean, it's not bad, it's not terrible, but you can see the color is not quite there like it was, a month or so ago. So I mean, not bad for late October, But you know, I'm going to be losing the fight here soon. I think by this time next month, unless we get a change in weather, it's going to be checking out. So it's good. It's been a fun season. Lawn's looking great. And tonight we've got some really cool before and after, as well as some renovation pictures to share with you guys. So from viewers, so be sure to stay tuned for the entire show to make sure you don't miss out on that. If you guys are enjoying this, a great way to support the channel is to hit that like button. It costs absolutely nothing to do. It's a free way to support the channel. And if you would do that, I would really, really appreciate it. All right. So let's see what we have. First up is Mr. Mark Romano coming to us from the state of Hawaii. He says, hey ho, let's go. Temps have plummeted into the 70s here. Yeah, I wish we had 70s here. It's you know, it's getting into the 40s a lot of times at night, and it's I don't know what the temperature is today, but it's nippy out. It's nippy out. It's been fairly cold the last couple of weeks. So late fall is here. Winter is not far away, but hopefully, you know, if Georgia weather holds true, it's not going to stick around and be this cold forever, right? We'll get back into the 50s here before you know it. Next up is Mr. Ben Raham. He says, happy Friday. Thanks so much, Ben. Happy Friday to you. Hopefully you're doing all right. Thank you for coming to hang out in the live stream. Appreciate all the love and support. Here on the Instagram, we got Big Willie Style. I think it's a Will Smith fan. Lizzie Lawn 88, Down for Life, and then Rose World is in the live stream as well. Thank you for coming in and hang out. Take some time out of your Friday evening. I do appreciate it. All right, next up is Mr. Tony Israel. He says, sup Ron and fellow followers, happy Friday. Can Tahoma 31 thrive at a cut height of 1/8 of an inch or lower? I do not know. I don't know. That's getting there, man. That's, you know, you're getting down to greens height. Cutting the lawn at an 1/8 of an inch. I don't know how Tahoma would tolerate that. Most people that cut that low, you know, when you're getting down to greens heights, either use like a dwarf Bermuda or some type of grass that is really designed for the shorter mowing heights. Even if it tolerates it, what I would expect you to see is that the color's not going to be as good. You know what I mean? I don't know of anyone cutting Tahoma at 1/8. You know, you would absolutely be the first that I've heard of anyone even attempting it. So if you do it, be sure to take pictures, keep us posted on that. And you know, cutting it at 1/8, are you sure you know what you're signing up for? Let's say we could wave a magic wand, we could Thanos snap, and Tahoma 31 would tolerate cutting at 1/8 of an inch. That's a lot of work, man. I mean, as far as maintaining, you know, a green at that height, you're looking at mowing every day. You know, it's not like whenever you feel like, it's like literally every day you're going to be out there mowing, keeping the lawn looking, or keeping the green looking good at that height. In addition, you know, fungicides are going to be part of your life then. You know, it's going to be one of these things where every 3 weeks, worst case monthly, you can be putting down some kind of a fungicide to keep disease out of the lawn. Because even though you can cut grass that low, it is stressful. You know what I mean? Like putting greens, they tolerate that fairly well. But as far as most courses, you'll find they have a regular fungicide program that they use to keep disease and other issues at bay. So just know what you're getting into if you decide to go that route. Again, I don't know the answer to your question as far as if Tahoma 31 will tolerate 1/8 of an inch, but just realize that you're signing up for, at a minimum, everyday mowing if you're going to keep the grass at that height. If you do it though, take a picture, Tony. I would love to see Tahoma cut that short. Love to see what it looks like. All right, next up, we have a question from Instagram. This one is from Down for Life. It says, when should you be doing weed control after new growth? I'm not sure I understand the question, Down for Life. So if you're talking about on a new lawn, when could you start introducing herbicides? Once a lawn is established, when you're out there, you're mowing it regularly. You know, it's a measuring stick that I like to use, and it's not really it's not very scientific, but when all the sod lines are gone, so it looks like an actual lawn, you know, it doesn't look like a lawn that was just put in. If you want to introduce post-emergent herbicides, then I wouldn't be opposed to that. But for most people, once they are actually on the lawn and they're actually starting to mow it, is when you could then bring in like post-emergent herbicides to target the weeds that you're after. What I would recommend not doing is blanket spraying the entire lawn. Is if you have areas that are, you know, more where weeds are more concentrated, if you can spot spray, that's going to be less stressful to the turf than taking the blanket spray route. So just something to keep in mind. I'm not sure exactly that's what your question was, but hopefully that helps. Definitely wait until the lawn is at the point where it's established and you're mowing it regularly before you introduce herbicides. I think that is the most conservative approach to minimize the chance of injury. Great question. I really do appreciate that. Down for life. All right. How soon can you spray herbicides? It's a good question. All right. So next up we have Jared George. Jared's in the house. Thanks for coming to hang out, Jared. He asked the question, or says rather. Let me get you up here, Jared. He says, Ron, I finally sent an email. Finally, right? I know we've been working on this for over a month now, a while now, Jared. He says, apologies for the length. If you have time to even address just one thing, just one, I'll keep it simple. Primo for common Bermuda next season. What should I expect? Should you spray Primo on your common Bermuda lawn next year? Yeah, absolutely. It'd be pretty awesome. It's Primo, like I always say, guys. I mean, you guys think I'm joking, but ask people that just started getting into using growth regulator. There's life before Primo Maxx and there's life after it. So growth regulator is one of the most powerful tools that I use in my lawn care program. It allows me to, it helps toughen up the turf. It helps maintain the color. It makes it to where mowing isn't quite as much of a chore. So yes, if you are going to be, if you asking the question, should you use Primo on common Bermuda? I absolutely would endorse that. No problem at all. The one thing you want to keep in mind is that if you look at the application rates on the label for Primo Maxx, the rates that it gives for hybrid Bermuda type, so your TifTuf, any hybrid Bermuda, is going to be quite a bit lower than what it specifies for common. So for hybrid Bermuda, the range is 1/4 ounce per 1,000 square feet, so 0.25 ounces per 1,000 square feet, up to just under 0.4 of an ounce, so 0.4 fluid ounces per 1,000 square feet. So 0.25 to 0.4, that's about your range for the hybrids. For the commons, it jumps up quite a bit to 0.75 ounces per 1,000 square feet, and you're going to be using that once a month. So if you're going to be using Primo on common, what I would say is, do the split application, like do it every couple of weeks. So take that monthly rate and cut it in half. So you would take, 0.75, what is that, 0.375, something like that. So you would take 0.37 thereabouts, and spray that on the 1st of the month, and then spray it again on the 15th. So every couple of weeks you'll be spraying that half rate, and that's a good way of introducing the growth regulator to the plant. It's going to minimize the chance of you having any kind of tip burn. You're really not losing anything as far as regulation. Regulation is still going to work well, and it's how I would do it, especially when you're first starting. Start at 0.35, 0.37, that rate, and if you want to work up to say 0.4-ish every 2 weeks, that would likely be all right. So the biggest thing to keep in mind when it comes to Primo on common is that the rates are quite a bit higher, more than double than what they would be for a hybrid lawn. So that's the main thing to keep in mind. I'd also highly recommend that if you're going to be spraying Primo, mix in some liquid fertilizer along with that. What I use is the Golf Course Lawn Carbon Kit, and I use a micronutrient kicker to help a little bit of iron in it to kind of keep that color looking good. So I'll show you exactly what I do, Jared. So if you go to shop and we go to lawn fertilizer, so I use the 901C carbon kit. So this version here, right, depending on the size of your lawn, a 10,000 square foot or 5,000 square foot, but you get 901C, which is release zero with fertilizer in it, a kelp product, and a microbial food in Biospectrum. And then with that, I also add Nutrizolve. So this is all your micronutrients, your iron, molybdenum, zinc, boron, copper. And as far as rates, this I spray at a rate of 6 ounces per 1,000 square feet. And the carbon kit, the liquids in the carbon kit at 3 ounces per 1,000 square feet. So that's a great combination along with the half rate of Primo Maxx going in the tank. You're going to love the results you get with that. To help with that a bit more, there is a blog post that we did not too long ago on growth regulator and the benefits of using it. So I'll find that really quick. Here we go. Yep, how plant growth regulation can make your lawn thicker and greener. Talks all about PGR, how it works, the benefits of it. There's some videos based on some of my YouTube content. But then when you get down here is where we go into more detail on what I just explained to you as far as taking that monthly rate, cutting it in half, and then spraying that on the 1st and the 15th of the month. Like how to avoid tip burn, pretty much take the monthly rate, cut it in half. And then for your Bermuda grass, for your common grass types, I've got like a little table here with rates, with the half rate. So for your fescues, for Bahia grass, so you can see for hybrid Bermuda, 0.13 every couple of weeks per 1,000. Common Bermuda grass, 0.38, 0.4 thereabouts per 1,000 every 2 weeks. So I'll send you a link to this. I'll send this link to you as well, because I think it'll be It'll be useful for you. It'll be helpful. And then, yeah, you're off to the races, man. Just have fun, enjoy it. There, like I said, there's life before Primo and there's life after it. And I have yet to come across anyone that introduces growth regulator into their lawn care program and isn't really excited and happy with the results. So hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, do let me know. I did get your pictures. Actually, you know what, guys? Jared is one of the folks that I wanted to show pictures of as far as before and after. So, he's been on the live stream for a while. He's been working on doing some renovation work, and he did some things in here that are kind of cool, and I want to really point out. So this is his initial before, right? And let's just face it. You think your lawn has got challenges, is looking kind of rough. That's up there as far as like lawns that are struggling. I mean, that's the definition of a salad bowl. There's more broadleaf weeds in there than there are grass for sure. So you can see where he was before, and you can see now that same area how it looks today. It's a pretty big difference, right? So before and after. Now the thing about this after that I really like is that Jared did not try and do the impossible. He did not say, you know what, I'm gonna do what everyone is trying to do. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to try and make Bermuda grass grow in shade, which is not possible. It's not going to happen. It's like having mayonnaise and ice cream. You know that kind of response you have when I say that mayonnaise and ice cream, they just don't go together. That's how Bermuda is. Bermuda and shade just don't go together. And he didn't fight it. He said, you know what? I'm going to pick my battles. I'm going to get green grass where I can get it. And where I can't get it, I'm just going to do some kind of like a stone treatment. I'm going to maybe put some rocks in there. I'll make it maybe just a walk area. And that's exactly what he did. And you can take a look here and you can see that's the before, and the after was very well executed. I really like this. You can see he's put some bricks, some pavers in there. It's a very nicely done, Jared. I like the work. As we continue on to the front lawn, you can see the before. I mean, it's not the worst I've seen, but let's say that lawn is struggling. It's seen better days. So that's how he was looking like before. And this is the after. So before and after. You got to admit, man, a little bit of love, a little bit of consistency really can make a big difference in how a lawn looks. So next year, Jared, now that you've gotten the lawn under control, you are, ahead of the curve. I'd say that, you're in a really good place now. Next year, when you introduce Primo to it, it's going to be even that much better. It's even that much better. So awesome. We're going to clap it up for you. Awesome job on all that hard work. And again, the biggest thing, the thing I am most proud of is that you did not try and make Bermuda do what Bermuda does not like to do. Even in the back there, you could look with the house. You're already dealing with some shade as it is, but you didn't get greedy. You took what you could get, and you didn't try and make it grow right up next to the house, which it probably wasn't going to grow. So good work. Very nicely done. Again, congrats. Thank you for sending the pictures, and hopefully that question, my answer as far as using Primo Maxx on common Bermuda serves you well. If you need anything else, do let me know. All right, next up we have Trojan Dave. He says, lawn performed well this season thanks to your suggestions. This has been covered before, but why is dithiopyr dimension not available to be shipped to California? I have to use to halt POA. You should be able to get it in California, Trojan Dave. Are you trying to get the granular or the liquid? Are you trying to get the granular or the liquid? From what I understand, you can use dimension there. There's not really any restrictions on it. If you're going to go, you can use dimension or you can use or prodiamine. Either one of those should work well. And again, to my knowledge, that's not really restricted in California. It should be able to order it. So the granular, okay, yeah. So I know what the issue you're having. So when it comes to shipping the granular prodiamine or dithiopyr to California, it's not a restriction thing. It's a shipping thing. So we just don't certain granular products, particularly the ones that are fulfilled through a particular warehouse, we don't ship those to California because there's like the logistics of covering the shipping costs just don't work. So what I would say is go to, check out somewhere else, check out, like Do My Own, any of those other places. You should be able to get some dithiopyr there if that's what you want to go with. I don't know if they have it in granular or not. They should. But you should be able to find it somewhere else online and get it if granular is what you want. We do have like prodiamine in liquid, and that you can, or in water dispersible granule, and that we would ship to California. But that's more an us thing. That is not a you not being able to get it in granular is an us thing. That is not a state restriction or a dithiopyr thing. So sorry about that. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know. And again, there's other places you can get it. I'd like you to get it from us, but it's our problem. We're the ones messing up, right? So be it. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And I'm glad to hear that your lawn is looking awesome this year. Great work. Keep it up. All right, next we have favorite Bermuda. Daryl is in the house. He says, "Happy Friday, everyone." What's going on, Daryl? Thanks for coming to hang out. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking some time out of your Friday to come say hey. And the next up is Jay Bear says, Jackie Bear says, "Brother Ron and chat, have an awesome live stream and weekend. We holler." It's going to be a good weekend. It's Formula One is back in America, which is nice. It's in somewhere in Texas. And it's the Texas Grand Prix. And then a few weeks from then, we have the race in October. Or sorry, not in October, in Vegas. So there's 3 events. We got the Miami, we got one in Texas, and then the one in Vegas. So it's a great year for Formula One in the United States. And obviously there's football. I get to watch my fantasy team probably lose again, but hey, such is life, right? Such is life. First world problems. All right, so we have another super chat here. Let me go out and grab that from Mr. Luis Ayabareño. Thank you so much, Luis.
Super chat received.
He says, "Good evening, all. Finally got irrigation done, overseed, started fertilizer, and essential G down. Got rain, so lawn looks great. I marked everything. Somehow it all came with a price, cut lighting wire, and punctured aeration line." Yeah, I mean, it happens, man. Hey, I think we've all done that. What have I done? I've not punctured an irrigation line. I've not done that, but what I have done is I have broken a sprinkler head off. So one of the ones in the back lawn after top dressing was a couple of seasons ago. There's some sand that got in the irrigation head, so sometimes it would go down and sometimes it wouldn't. And I was out there one morning, just not really paying attention. I was out there mowing the lawn, and it was sticking up maybe an inch above, just up, maybe less than an inch, but just enough to where the front roller literally hit it and just knocked the head right off. So if you guys see my videos on top dressing, you'll notice there's like a comment where I always say, hey, if you're gonna be top dressing your entire lawn, go out and buy like these little dog frisbees or little circular dinner plates, whatever you can get, like the little silicone ones, and take those and put them over your irrigation heads, because if you don't and you get sand in them, you will eventually ruin them. So there's a why behind a lot of the things that I say in the videos, and that's one that I've that's a gotcha that I've had as well, Louise. So you're not the only one. Glad to hear that overall it sounds like the lawn is doing okay, and you've got some wiring to fix and it sounds like an irrigation line to also take care of too. But this too shall pass. Fear not. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. And as always, if I can help with anything else, definitely let me know. All right, next up is Oliver Rittim. Oliver is in the house. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron and everyone. Temps went back to 80s, 90s this week, not here in Georgia. Lay down some iron to get a green up, but no results. My cheap soil thermometer said pH is 5.5. Maybe the reason? Getting a soil test soon." It could be. If it truly is in the mid-5s, that's not crazy low, but that is more acidic than I would like to see. What I'd like to see for your soil, Oliver. The thing you might be running into is, given that it's only now starting to warm up, when the grass begins growing a little bit faster, assuming that it starts doing that again, your iron application, should have a better effect. You didn't tell me whether you did granular or liquid. If you did liquid, I would think within a few days, especially given like 80, 90 degree temperatures, that you should see a color response from that. As far as a soil test kit, the one that I recommend, I'm not sure which one you're going to use, but the one that I recommend and like is the one from My Soil. These are super easy to use. And then probably one of the best parts is a feature they added, it's going over a year now, where all your soil test results are all saved. So if you ever want to compare like fall 2023 to spring 2024, you can do that because all your results are all stored for you. There's no extra cost for doing that. And as far as a soil test kit that is easy to understand and interpret, I really like the ones from My Soil. So we carry them on the golf course lawn store. You can pick one up there, assuming you don't already have one. And I would highly, highly recommend soil testing. It's literally one of the best investments. Some of the best. It's like the best $30 you'll spend on in your lawn care program. Even if you only do it one time. I mean, I recommend doing it twice a year, spring and fall. But really, if you only do it once, just one time, and just so you have a baseline of, hey, in your case, my soil pH is out of whack. I need to start doing lime applications. Or, I've got plenty of phosphorus, but I don't have my nitrogen and potassium are low. It just allows you to go at it more intelligently when it comes to figuring out your nutrient program. So good stuff, man. Keep me posted on as far as what the soil test results come back with. And good stuff. Good stuff. I'm glad that you're getting some warmer temperatures. Yeah, I was watching the practice one before the show tonight. and they're with the at the I think it's the Circuit of the Americas. I think is what they call the circuit. And they were saying the temps were in the 90s, right? So it's definitely warmed back up quite a bit in Texas. Jason Harrison is in the live stream next. He says, "Happy Friday. What you drinking? And how was the karate? Smash that like button ever so gently." I really appreciate that, Jason. So what am I drinking tonight? Hey guys, I'm stepping up. I'm being fancy tonight. So I actually have genuine Chick-fil-A lemonade, and I put a little bit of mint in there, a little bit of like mint tea, lemongrass mint tea from Publix. I tell you, that combination is legit. If you like mint, not everyone likes mint, but if you like mint, get yourself a Chick-fil-A lemonade and put so this is right now. There's that much in here, right? So I would say put an inch or so of mint of the mint lemongrass tea in there, along with that Chick-fil-A lemonade. It's good. That's legit. It's really good. Not gonna steer you wrong. I'm not gonna steer you wrong. If you like mint, you will enjoy that. It's a really good. I guess you call it a mocktail, right? There's no alcohol in it, so yeah. So that's what I'm drinking: lemonade and lemongrass mint tea combo. How was martial arts? It was good. So the black belt test was the Friday evening. That went well. And then the following day was a clinic. So, there's like stations of doing like jujitsu, a station for like fan fighting, a station for nunchucks, self-defense. So kind of cool. So a few hours of learning from instructors in our region, which was always a fun time. And best part is get to see friends, right? You get to see friends and friends that you haven't seen in some cases a year, some cases a lot longer, right? So it's always, for me, that's the best part, getting together with everyone, just kind of getting to hang out and just catch up and tell stories and stuff. So yeah, it was a good time. Next up is Mr. Adam Carter. He says, "Hey Ron, did you get the pictures of the new sod?" I did, Adam. Actually, I did. I got the pictures and I got your question about it. So Adam, you guys will remember, Adam had some challenges with his sod where he top dressed it and it was the zoysia sod, and he went too heavy, caused the zoysia to really slow down, and he went through and did a renovation. So he went through and did resodded the entire lawn. So like I've got a picture of that one, Adam, and I can show you. I didn't have that one queued up, but I will get it up here really quickly. No worries with that. We have the technology. So this is a picture of what Adam's lawn looks like as of right now after the resod, which is not bad, right? I think most of you guys would say that's that's just a newly sodded lawn, right? It looks about how you would expect it to look. And then, but he's having some challenges. Before the show, he sent me an email saying, "Hey, so I've got some lines in my new sod, I sprayed fungicide, is something I should be worried about? What's going on?" So I'll show you guys what he sent to me. So this is a picture of some areas. You see he's got some lines in there. So a line there, and then another one. It's the same picture, but like turned 90 degrees to the right, I think. Yep. And the thing about this picture is if you look, whenever you see something like where we have like lines in a lawn along like what you're seeing here, along the lines of what you're seeing here, like this is whenever it was installed, maybe that area, I won't say it's dying off, but it's just lagging behind. Perhaps there was something that was laid on this part of the sod when it was at the sod farm or when it was being transported. But this is not. I do not believe this to be a disease problem. This is something like man-made. This is something that was done after the fact. Again, something was laying on it. It didn't get enough sunlight. Because if you look, you've got 1, 2, 3 parallel lines there, and that just doesn't really happen. Not that I've seen anyway when it comes to like diseases. So you sprayed a fungicide. You probably didn't need to do that, but it's not going to hurt anything at this point. I would just say give it time. Adam. You're saying, I know you're saying you couldn't look at the dead grass anymore. So that's why you went through and did the renovation. And with this, it's going to be the same answer. You've got the new sod in. It's looking pretty decent. You are going to find some areas. Yeah. So I can see the area that's next to the big yellow bag. So they're to the left of the front pavement area. So yeah, it's just lagging behind. It will get better. There's going to be some areas that are going to grow in and green up faster than others. And I would just say it's just going to be a time thing. Especially keep in mind, you did it this time of year. So it's getting cooler. Zoysia already as a grass grows slowly. So when you combine colder temps with that, it's going to grow even slower. So what I would say is this, I would not really do any fungicide apps from a standpoint of trying to correct that, because I don't believe it's a disease problem. And just really just keep on the lawn, and just realize that spring of next year is going to be your go time. If it gets to the point where you can mow it this year, I would consider that a win. You know, again, as slow as zoysia grows, you might not even really get into that unless the temperatures warm up a bit. So the lawn looks great. I wouldn't go too wild on it as far as herbicides, as far as fungicides, as far as really any of the sides. If you want to put down a biostimulant on it, something like Essential G, or if you want to spray a liquid biostimulant, that I'd be okay with. But like fertilizer, not right now. And herbicides, I really would avoid that until it's rooted in properly and it's doing well. It's kind of the same answer I gave the person that asked the question on Instagram. You really want the grass to be rooted in, you're mowing it regularly, and then you can start introducing herbicide if need be, or fungicide if need be. Based on what I'm seeing there, it's something about something was laid on it, or there's something that's man-made that's causing those lines to be there. I would not consider that to be a disease problem. So hope that helps. New side looks great. I know you couldn't stand looking at the whole side, and I'm glad that you were able to correct the problem by resodding it. Robert Rainey's in the house. Next, he says, "What's up and good evening." Here's the thing, guys. Robert's been exchanging emails with me this week, and I haven't felt envy in a while. I really haven't. So, last week he sent some pictures out showing, how the lawn was beginning to come in. And then today, actually, that's not true. A couple days ago, he sent me pictures of the current state of the lawn, sent the obligatory drone shot. And, I got to tell you, man, ryegrass in the fall is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Take a look at this. I mean, look at the stripes. Look at the color. Look at the definition. I mean, it looks 3D. I mean, granted, you can make Bermuda look pretty good, but man, the color is just absolutely insane. Insane. Great job, Robert. Lawn looks great. Here's the thing, Devin, I know you're on your honeymoon right now. Devin, if you guys didn't know, he got married. So whenever he comes back in the live stream, make sure you guys congratulate him. But I tell you, Devin, I got to warn you, man, like Robert's coming for you. He ain't playing. He's not messing around. He doesn't do anything halfway. And this is a clear example that in the cool season category, this man's coming for you. So I'm sure you're gonna answer the call, but I'm just saying that you have to step your game up. You have to really come correct based on what I'm seeing here from Robert, because that's looking good, man. It makes it makes me wish I hadn't chickened out and actually went forward with the ryegrass overseed, because I cannot imagine how the back lawn would look with that kind of color and that kind of stripe action. Awesome work, sir. Thank you for sharing the pictures. And you're definitely going to be a contender, man. It's going to be tough you're definitely going to be a contender in the cool season category. I can say that for sure. One thing I would say to do, Robert, is if you can start playing with different patterns, because knowing Devin, what I would imagine he's going to do is he's going to just start laying different patterns, making the patterns more intricate, and that's how he's going to try and knock you off. So while the diamond pattern is nice, it looks good, I think, the thing I would say is changing up the pattern or adding some more detail to the pattern, trying different things is what's gonna really put you over the top. If you don't want to send pictures of that, I get it. Or if you send me pictures you don't want me to share it, that's fine too. But that's be the next thing I would say, because the color, you already got that figured out. Color looks great, stripe action looks great, lawn looks incredible. It's just the patterns now that we got to figure out as far as how you're gonna, give Devin a run for his money. Nice work. All right, we have another super chat. Let me get down here and grab that really quick. This one's from Mr. Ben Raham. Thank you so much, Ben.
Super chat received.
He says, "For some reason, my lemonade tastes like bourbon." You got better lemonade than I got. Tastes like bourbon. After 2 full-seeded Bermuda renovation projects, injury, and other challenges, next year, I will finally have the Bermuda shining. Can't wait for the renovation to come in, but I'll keep the true cut for scalping. Ron, thanks. No worries at all, man. Thank you for trusting the advice and just putting in the hard work. I'm sure that's why the lawn looks as incredible as it does. What kind of bourbon, man? You left out that one detail. It'd be nice to know what kind of bourbon you are you are doing. What kind of bourbon you're throwing out there? Thank you for the super chat, sir. And I believe you are now our show sponsor, so we'll adjust that. Ben Raham. There you go. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. And actually, I'm going to move this up. There we go. Good. Nice. Thanks again, Ben. Thanks so much. And Devin is here. He's lurking. He's like Robert. He's like Robert. It's on Robert. Okay, so he's answering the challenge, and then no name, Mister. You have that person at the playground who's always like saying, "Hey Robert, I bet you won't step over that line. This side of the line is like Devin's side. You bet you won't step over." The kind of person kind of start stuff, trying to drum up, trying to create drama. That's no name. Look at no names. I mean, I'm gonna go back up and get the other comments, but I couldn't help this one where he's saying Robert is awesome at Photoshop. See how you gonna do that? How you gonna like throw shade on the man's hard work? This is not Photoshop, man. I mean, this is not. I mean, that's not Photoshop. That's clean. That's hard work there. That's knowing what you're doing. Very, very, very nice. And then Devin says, back from the honeymoon last week. It was awesome. Brought some quality rum back. Nice. I do like a good rum. So I'm glad that you were able to pick up something fun while you were down there. So very, very cool, Devin. And we'll have to see how your lawn is coming back. We're going to give you a pass this week, couple of weeks. I know you've been gone, so once you get the lawn you're happy with where it is, we'll have to look into getting a vote between Robert and Devin. We maybe make it like a instead of me just choosing, we might do a poll, and we can see the audience what they think. And here's the thing, I'm going to keep tracking it because I know how you guys are. Right? You guys can't be like, having your workmates, colleagues. If I see a bunch of extra people in the live stream that aren't normally there, I'm going to call foul. I'm going to throw a flag on the play. So we'll see. I don't want to be the only one making the choice. All right, glad you had a great honeymoon, Devin, and glad you got back safe. And we definitely got to get you on the show once the dust settles and you've got some free time to do so. Tom Hoffenkamp is up next. He said, happy Friday, Ron. Hope your Blacklight event was amazing. Question. Nutrivolve user, lover, proponent extraordinaire. Because it is foliar and effectively absorbed by the plant, does it not show up on the soil test? It does. It does. So whenever you cut your grass and those clippings go into the soil, you are adding some of the micronutrient to the soil. So yes, it will reflect in the soil test. It's not going to reflect as quickly as, say, a fertilizer that has a micronutrient added to it. So like take, for example, the Stress 12024 or the Complete 14714 that we sell from Lebanon, right? Those are granular fertilizers and they have iron added to them. They have micronutrients added to them. Those would reflect in soil tests a bit sooner than what you would get, say with Nutrisolve. That said, the beautiful thing about Nutrisolve is that given that it's foliar, the color response is going to happen a lot faster. So, whereas with granular fertilizers, 5 to 7 days is about what you're normally going to see between the time you apply it to the time you start seeing a color response. Whereas with a liquid fertilizer app, or in your case, a micronutrient, you could be 2 to 3 days and you'll see a nice color response. Also, a nice thing is that if you have a soil that is more alkaline or one that's more acidic and you have trouble like adjusting the pH to get it more to that Goldilocks zone where the nutrients becomes more available, a foliar micronutrient is a great way to still get micronutrient into the plant without having to rely on microbial activity and the soil to make that available. So I wouldn't, just because you're not seeing the reflection of your soil test results as quickly, I would not encourage you to move away from micronutrients in liquid form because there's so many benefits to it. Like when you spray your Primo, spray growth regulator, like being able to have a little bit of liquid iron in the tank as well when you're spraying that is a good thing. So even though that is, you could say, a small negative and that you're not going to see it reflected in the soil test results as quickly, or it's not going to build up as quickly as what you would get out of a granular product, I feel that the benefits of foliar micronutrients outweigh the negatives, like 10 to 1. So hope that helps, Tom. Great question. If you need anything else, let me know. That's a good one. I have not had that particular question before, so good one. Great question. Hopefully that helps you. And yeah, the Black Belt event, the regional event was awesome. Was awesome as always. Great time. All right, next we got here on the gram, we got Donald Long, we got a couple other folks here, Art Gases, Northern Lawn Nuts in the house. Mayan 152 is also in the house. What's going on? Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for coming, taking some time out of your Friday night to come hang out. All right, next up is Mr. Colin Potter. He says, sup, Ron, happy Friday. Happy Friday, Colin. Thank you for taking some time to come hang out as in the live stream. I got another renovation I got to show you guys. I'm going to see if he shows up first so I can do it, show the renovation or show the progress of his work while he's actually here. We'll see. All right, so next is Neil, is Devin. No, he says, "What's up, Ron? Looking just for some good turf talk. I will do my best. It'll be some turf talk for sure. You have to let me know whether it's good or not. I'll do my best though." Neil White's up next. He says, "Hey, Ron, I have a great success with my newly sodded Xeon zoysia in my backyard. I have fescue in my front yard, which I will kill off in the spring to sod with Xeon. Can't wait. Hope you're doing well." I am doing well, man. And here's the thing. I am not, for those of you with fescue lawns, I am not anti-fescue. I love all grass types. You know, Bermuda and zoysia, I bias more towards those, but fescue is not bad too. But I would say, Neil, you're making your life a lot nicer, a lot easier by making that decision. Because by having zoysia in the front and zoysia in the back, now when it comes to herbicides, if you need them, it's a lot easier. You can start using like that good spectacle flow if you decide to, you want to give it the champagne, the champagne pre-emergent. When it comes to spraying growth regulator, that is easy because you're going to be using the same rates on the front and back. So just in general, it just makes your life simpler. You know what I mean? It takes some of the complexity out of your life. And zoysia does look good. I got to tell you, in the early spring and the fall, zoysia looks incredible. In the summer, it looks good too, but it's a thing of beauty, man. And zoysia in the fall is something nice, really nice grass. So glad to hear your lawn is doing well. Keep us posted. Make sure you take pictures before, during, and after the renovation, because once you do it, your lawn is never going to look the same again. And you want to be able to realize how far you have come. Colin Potter has a question. It's a great one. He says, shorter, longer, or the same for dormancy? So it depends on your grass type, Colin. I maintain mine at the same height that I do during the summer. So my grass is at 0.75 inches, just at 3/4 of an inch, and that is where I'm going to leave it going into dormancy all throughout the winter. If you have a grass that is very tall, so you have like a tall fescue or a grass that just likes being cut tall, I am a fan, and there's people who disagree with me on this, but I'm a fan of cutting it down a little bit shorter in the range that is acceptable for that grass type. So I'm not saying you should cut fescue down to 1/4 of an inch or 3/4 of an inch. That would be insanity. You would not do that. But let's say the range for your particular fescue is 2.5 inches up to say 5 inches. If you can get it a little bit lower in that 2.5, 3 inch height going into the winter, I'm a fan of doing that because you prevent potential issues with disease in the lawn by allowing the little bit of heat that we have in the winter to get to the soil, to allow it to dry out more, and the grass is less likely to get waterlogged if it's kept a little bit shorter. So I'm a fan of doing of keeping the grass a bit shorter going into dormancy. And for Bermuda, like 3/4 of an inch, it sounds low, but it's really not that short for Bermuda. Now, I've played with this on several different heights of cut. I've gone as low as just under 1/2 an inch. So not last year, but in whatever the year it was, whenever I maintained the lawn at 1/2 an inch, when it was crazy and decided I was going to cut the lawn at like it was like 0.45 is what I maintained to that all year round and into the winter, and the lawn tolerated it just fine. I didn't have there was no injury, there were no problems at all with that, but it just didn't look as good throughout the rest of the season. Like the color wasn't as good, just the lawn didn't look as good. So I've cut my lawn, I've taken it into winter at a much shorter height of cut than where I am now. And 3/4 of an inch for Bermuda grass, 3/4 of an inch to an inch is a great height of cut for Bermuda grass going into the winter, especially if you're in Georgia, because our winters really aren't that extreme here. They're relatively mild. Growing the grass out, you hear some people say, you should let your grass get tall. So if you have a Bermuda lawn, let it grow out to 2 inches, 3 inches going in the winter. Again, I'm not a fan of doing that for the same reason that I said earlier. Like, if you get a lot of heavy rain, the turf is more likely to stay waterlogged. There's more chances of you having disease problems. So I find like cutting it a little bit shorter, I find produces a better result. Outside of that, when you go to springtime, if you let the lawn grow out, you're creating a lot more work for yourself. So if you're someone that scalps your lawn, right? Say in the springtime, you're someone that you're real mowing it, and you are going to do a cleanup cut, say come March timeframe. If you let your Bermuda grass that normally is at 3/4 of an inch or an inch grow out to say 2 inches or 3 inches before dormancy, even if you let it grow an inch, so go from an inch to 2 inches. That's a lot of material to take out of the lawn. You may not think so, but an inch is quite a bit when it comes to the amount of grass clippings that you're going to have to be dealing with when it comes to scalping. So again, I find keeping the same height of cut has worked well for me from that I've been out in the summer into the winter, and then waking up the next year, it's been just fine. So yeah, so hope that helps, Colin. If it were, situations where you would let Bermuda grass grow a little bit taller, like when Bermuda's used on like sports fields, on sports turf, it's tend to grow a bit taller. Like they tend to run it around an inch and a half in that range, inch and a half to 2 inches. But if you're, for a residential lawn, like, it's just for aesthetics for the most part, cutting it at an inch to 3/4 of an inch, I find is the best of both worlds, both with the grass doing well over the winter. And then when next year comes around, you don't have you're not creating a lot of headache for yourself when it comes to doing the cleanup before the next season starts. So hope that helps. Great question. And again, if you ask that question to 10 different people, you'll get 10 different responses. Hopefully my explanation as to why I do it the way that I do it, which is also backed up with just testing. I've done it not like 1 year or 2 years. I've done it for several years this way. Makes sense to you. So let me know what you end up deciding to go with on your lawn. All right, next up we have Stan G. I got a question here on Instagram. I'll get to you in 1 second, Liz. Give me 1 minute here. Next up is Stan G. He says, oh boy, Ron, let's get down with some good stuff tonight talking lawn care. Do my best. That's always the plan for Friday nights, right? It's always the plan. It all depends on the questions we get. The better the questions, the better the discussion, right? That's how that works. All right, so we have a comment here from Lizzie Lawn 88. She says, happy Friday, Ron and fellow lawn connoisseurs. Looking forward to another excellent show. Please tap the like button and show your support for Ron. I appreciate that. It's not a question, more of just a bid for support. And thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. It means a lot. We got Stripe Life on the gram stopping by. Brett Smithling. Who else we got here? Masonry Landscaping LLC. So you do masonry and landscaping. Cool. Very, very cool. Thank you so much for that, Liz. I do appreciate the kind words. All right, next up is Don Hatley. Don Hatley. He says, happy Friday. Wondering, as we in the South have lawns approaching dormancy, is there any benefit to either keeping the lawn super low/tight or letting it get any taller have a noticeable effect? So I just answered that question, Don. And actually, there is a blog post that I did on this subject, on preparing your lawn for the winter months, like things you should be doing. And I will share that with you guys here once I dig it up. But the long and short of it is, it's really up to you. I don't see the need to drastically change your height of cut from a standpoint of letting the lawn grow a lot taller going into dormancy. And at the same time, I don't see a ton of benefit for cutting it a lot shorter than where it was going into dormancy. Again, for Bermuda grass, 3/4 of an inch to an inch for me. I've tried it multiple ways. I've cut it at like below half an inch going into dormancy. I've cut it at an inch and a quarter. And I find that 3/4 of an inch to an inch is a great, it produces a great result. You don't have injury to the lawn, even if you get some snow on snow. It just the turf tolerates it just fine. But again, that's based on where I am in Georgia. I'm in Northeast Georgia. It doesn't get super cold here for extended periods, Don. So if you were in Arkansas or somewhere a little bit further north, maybe you might maybe you might bias more towards an inch or an inch and a quarter. But I would not like grow the grass out to like 2 or 3 inches, with the idea that, I'm going to grow it taller because that's going to help protect the grass. You are increasing the chances of you having disease issues in the lawn. So I would not do that. All right. So when it comes to that, I'm going to find that blog post for you. Yep. And then again, for those of you guys that have, rotary mowers, 2 inches of Bermuda with a rotary mower, that's a good height. That's where I would say to leave it. But if you're real mowing it, you can go shorter. All right, so here's that blog post I was telling you about. Actually, this is a knowledge-based article on Don that talks about preparing your lawn for colder months. Comprehensive guide. There you are. And you know what? I'll even link it right here. So any of you guys that are on Instagram on Facebook or Twitter can also see that as well too. So it talks about your feeding program, soil testing, If you overseeding, if you happen to be someone that, if you have like a cool season lawn, or if you have a Bermuda lawn, you're like Robert, you're trying to do overseeding, talks about preparing your irrigation system. So pretty much it's a guide for, hey, it's about to get cold. Here's some things that I think are a good idea for you to do to, one, get a good result with your lawn going into dormancy, and then put you ahead of the game for next year when it wakes up. And again, it's not just grass, it's also your equipment and your irrigation system as well. There's also some discussions in there about preventing diseases in your lawn. So take a look at that. It's a bit of a longer read. That's why it's in the knowledge base, but I think that will provide some value for you, Don, as far as your question on height of cut. The short answer is, I leave my lawn at the same height of cut where I was mowing it during the summer. And that's because based on where I live in Georgia. All right, next up is Jameel Taylor. Jameel Taylor's up next. He says, how does sodding a lawn in winter work? Will it still root? In Georgia, yes. Yeah, so my lawn was sodded in December. So it's been it's been crazy. It's been that long. It's been 9 years at this point, but my lawn was sodded in December. But again, keep in mind, in Georgia, I don't have to qualify that. In Georgia, we don't get, crazy winters. I mean, last year we had a couple of days where it got quite cold, got into single digits for a couple of days, but that's by far the outlier. I can't think, like in the 9 years I've lived here, that's only happened once, and it was last year. So last year was unseasonably cold. Normally what we get is you'll have, days a lot of days in the 30s, some days it'll dip into the 20s, but for the most part we stay between 30s, 40s, 50s, like the 30s to 50s range is where we tend to be in Georgia. And is it the most ideal time to do a sodding project? No, like I would wait, if you can, wait till the spring to do it. But whenever like homes are built around here, because they're building homes year round, they put the sod in whenever the house is done. And in my case, the house was done like in December, so they sodded it, and that was it. And the lawn grew in just fine. I didn't have any issues with any of it not rooting or anything like that. So can it work? Yes. Depends on where you are in the country. If you're in Georgia, Florida, Southeast US, where it gets warmer, or it stays warmer, if you want to do that, that would be fine. Just realize that everything is going to take longer when you do this kind of thing in the winter months. So again, if you had the choice, if you're the one doing it, if you're paying for it, I would say wait until the springtime. If you're getting a place built or a property built and they're just putting the sod in, I mean, you don't really have a whole lot of say in that. They're going to do it when they're going to do it. And if that is done, I wouldn't worry about it. It's going to be just fine. The lawn will still root in. The thing you got to keep in mind is you're not going to really be able, the time it's going to take for that lawn to really establish is not going to happen until like March of next year, because the weather is so much cooler that it's just going to be growing very quite slowly. So it's your call, Jameel. If it were me, if it were my money, if you're paying for it, I would not pick the winter time to do a new resodding project. I would save that for the spring. But with Bermuda grass, if you happen to be buying a house and they're going to be sodding it now, it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. Just stay off of it. You can't get out there to play on it. Don't harass it, but it will be okay. Good question. All right, next up is Adam Carter. He says, just wondering, I've always been told not to put nitrogen down around this time of year, but you say to put down 12-0-24 in the guide. Will the nitrogen damage the grass? Nope, because remember, I did it. I tell you to apply the 12-0-24 in the beginning of October. So we are 20 days into October. So I did my last granular application the beginning of this month, right? And I'm not doing any more granular fertilizer apps until next year. I'm done as far as granular feeding on the lawn then. The big thing why I recommend the 12-0-24 has less to do with the nitrogen that's in it, which is again relatively low. It's more about the potassium. What you want is a higher potassium fertilizer when a lawn is going into dormancy, or we're just really going to see any kind of stressful conditions. So the 12-0-24 is a great option when a lawn is waking up, when it's coming out of dormancy in the spring, when it's going into dormancy in the fall. And if you have cool season grass, it's a great option during the summer months for like Kentucky bluegrass lawns, where they tend to struggle when temps are a lot higher. So whenever the lawn is going to see a bit of stress, whether from cold or hot, that is when increasing the amount of potassium that's available for it is a good thing, which is why, Adam, I recommend the 12-0-24 in October, going into the fall to kind of close out the feeding program for for your lawn. Depends on where you are in the country as well too. This is gonna be kind of a common theme. Is if you're in Florida, if you're in Florida, it's like south of I-4, then you're gonna be feeding the lawn. I mean, you could be using that. You could be using a lot of times the fertilizer you've been using over the summertime, because with the temperature, while it does get cooler, it doesn't slow down enough that you can't continue to feed the lawn with relatively the same fertilizer package that you were using during summer months. But here in the Northeast, or sorry, in the Northeast Georgia, where it gets where we do get like a bit of a winter or some semblance of winter, I like to increase the potassium levels and just stop feeding the lawn in October with granular fertilizers. Part of why I also do that as well, Adam, is there's people that still are fertilizing their lawns around here now, right? I wouldn't recommend that, but part of why I do it is I'm also trying to prevent spring dead spot. So one of the contributors to spring dead spot is one, not doing a fungicide application in the fall, but also wet conditions with a lot of nitrogen, right? Which we tend to have a lot of that in the fall time of year here in Georgia. So by limiting the amount of N going into the soil this time of year, and then also applying a preventative fungicide. Again, what I did is the beginning of October, I did Pillar SC, and then maybe next weekend, I think is the end, getting close to the end of this month, I'll do another application, and then I'm calling it good. I'm done. I'm done as far as fungicides until next year. So why I recommend that is to increase the potassium levels and also help stop you from creating conditions that are going to make it more likely for you to have problems with diseases in your lawn. So hope that helps. If you need anything else, do let me know. And I'm glad that you're reading the guide. The guide. It makes me feel good. There's a lot of work goes into writing those, so I'm glad that someone's actually reading them. So good. Hopefully that answer makes sense to you. All right. Next up is Lucky Luciano. He says, "Howdy, Ron." Howdy, Lucky Luciano. Hopefully you're doing all right. Let's see. We got Sands Lawn Care in Georgia saying hello. What's going on, Sands? Got a few others here coming in, so thanks you guys for coming to hang out in the live stream. Next up is Jimmy Miller. He says, "Ron, I have an order pending for a 30-pound bag of Headway G, 13,800 square feet or so. A little late, but wonder, should I apply another application 30 days later or some other product?" You could do Headway twice. When it comes to fungicides, I don't like to do more than 2 applications of the same one before switching it up. But if you're applying Headway, Jimmy, as part of your fall fungicide application, your preventative fungicide app, I'm fine with doing that. I would have done the first one the beginning of this month, beginning of October, and then your next one, in the beginning of November. But if you're a couple of weeks later, it's going to be fine. So if you want to do an application now and then another one 30 days later, it'll be okay. No issues with that at all. Again, it's a good job. It's a good thing to do. I saw when I started applying fungicides in the fall, I saw a noticeable reduction in how bad I was getting spring dead spot in my lawn in the springtime. So it's a good thing to do in the fall if your budget will allow for it. Okay, next up we have Always Baked, Never Fried. All right, he says pre-emergent check, fungicide applied check. Soil test, check. Results suggest a 7-0-20 and micronutrients are low. Sounds good. That's also a good fertilizer to close out the season with. Again, lower nitrogen, higher potassium. I like it. You're doing all the right things. Always baked, never fried. Go forth and conquer. And next up is Edward Thomas. He says, "Mr. Henry, is it necessary to fertilize your lawn every 3 weeks in the midsummer months?" So it depends on what you're going for. I fertilize every 2 weeks throughout the growing season. But the way I do it is, that requires a bit of explanation. So the majority of the fertilizer, the majority of the nutrients that my soil gets, my lawn gets, happens really once per month. And that's the beginning of the month. And then at the beginning of the month and again on the 15th of the month, I spray liquids, but at very low rates. So like it gets like a tenth of a pound of nitrogen on the 1st and again on the 15th. And the reason why I do that is that it helps you get more consistent color and consistent growth. So if you're saying, is it necessary to fertilize your lawn every 3 weeks? Strictly no. I mean, there's people that fertilize their lawn once a month, once every 6 weeks. It depends on really what you're after. But I like a spoon feeding type program because I like the results that it produces. You don't have what you tend to find, Edward, is that if you fertilize your lawn, say once a month, and all you use is granular, what you will find is whenever you apply the granular fertilizer, a week or so later, the lawn's going to get a nice green pop. The color's going to look great, and then it's going to slowly begin falling off. So as far as just a consistent look throughout the entire month, it's just not that. It's not that way. A way to smooth that out is to continue to use a granular, use it to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and then supplement that with liquids a couple times per month. It is more work, but the results look better. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're taking the peaks out of the nutrient that the grass sees throughout the month, and I like the results that does, which is why I promote that. You know what I mean? So if you want to know more about that, I've got a blog post on the topic of spoon feeding. I think it's on page 2. So if you go to resources and blog, and I think it's the second page. It may have gone. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, like why you should start spoon feeding your lawn. Talks about the benefits of it. Like that picture is a picture of my lawn in the summer months, and that's a lawn that gets again a small amount of fertilizer every couple of weeks, right? So I love the way the color is, the growth is. I don't push a bunch of extra growth, and it talks about for someone that's going to get into that. I give you a combination down here with Humic Max and 901C, and I actually give you the rates that you can use as well. So we apply, I tell you like what to set your spreader to for the Humic Max. You know, you want to do 3 pounds per thousand. And then as far as for the liquids, 3 ounces per thousand, that's covered in here. All the math of how it all works out is covered in that blog post. So I'm a fan of doing that. Is it necessary? Is it strictly necessary? No. But I mean, is fertilizing your lawn strictly necessary? No. I mean, your grass will grow without you putting, any kind of fertilizer on it. Is it going to be as healthy? No. Is it going to look as good? No. Is it going to be resistant to diseases? No. So there's a whole lot of things that you can do that aren't strictly necessary, but there are benefits to them. So, and I think that a spoon feeding program, that's one of those things where I think the juice is worth the squeeze. It's more work, but I think for someone that's really into their lawn and wants to look its absolute best, that's a good trade-off for getting a great looking lawn. So hope that helps. Have any other questions, let me know. And then next up we have, I'm just going to make a note here really quick. All right, so next up we have Lucky Luciano. Edward. All right. T. All right. Next up is Lucky Luciano. He says, hey, Ron, is it safe to put out 2600 fertilizer in the fall on Bermuda and Zoysia if the soil temperature is still in the 68 to 70 degrees? By the way, my N and K is super low. Just got my soil test done. Thank you. I wouldn't. It depends on who you talk to, but I wouldn't, Luciano. I would reduce the amount of nitrogen that you're putting in, and I would ensure that any fertilizer that you're applying, I'm assuming that's a granular product, is has a decent amount of potassium in it. When I say how much is a decent amount, like in excess of 15%. 15% or more potassium is what I would say to go for your fall fertilizer. 2600 is not what I would apply this time of year. Up to you if you want to do that, but it's not what I would go with. And you said your soil tests say that your N and K are super low. So in that case, just based on your soil tests, you do need a higher potassium fertilizer. So why apply something? Why apply fertilizer with a bunch of nitrogen right now when your grass really isn't going to use it? You didn't say what kind. Yeah, you have Bermuda and Zoysia. So right now your lawn's about to go dormant. It's about to check out. So as far as you applying putting a bunch of nitrogen into the soil right now, there's not a ton of benefit to doing that because the grass isn't at the point where it's going to growing aggressively to where it's going to really be able to use a lot of that. I would ensure that you go with a fertilizer that has some nitrogen in it. There's no problem with that, but definitely ensure that part of the formulation has potassium. In your case, a good option would be so if you go to shop and then lawn fertilizer on the golf course lawn store, the Stress 12 024. This is a great fertilizer to apply this time of year. 12% nitrogen, 24% potassium. Based on your soil test results, it checks both those boxes based on what's going on with your nutrient levels. That is what I would do. I would not do a 2600 this time of year. Would not be my first choice. Jared is up next. He says, my wife would be happy with me mowing less, and I would be happy with maybe some tighter bunches. Yeah. I mean, growth regulator is definitely good for that. Using Primo will help reduce the amount of mowing that you have to do, and it will tighten up the turf a bit. So yeah, it's going to check both boxes. Wifey will be happy, and your turf will look tighter as well too. So there's There's benefits. It's a win-win all around. Now, the only thing I would tell you, Jared, is that there's no free lunch. So if you're going to go with growth regulator, and especially if you're real mowing it, this is not really a growth regulator thing as much as it is a real mowing thing. If you start using Primo on the lawn and you start real mowing it, at some point throughout the season next year, you're going to want to have a way to thin out the grass. So you can verticut it, which would be what I'd recommend, but I realize not everybody has access to a verticutter. Or you can turf rake it, lightly turf rake it to help thin the lawn out. I see a lot of benefits in that by doing that once per month between the months of May through July, August timeframe. Like the lawn really does well if you thin out just a little bit, just gently, once per month throughout the growing season. Because if you don't do that, what's going to happen is, yes, you will get the lawn. It's going to be nice and tight and dense and look awesome. But what's going to happen around mid-June is you're going to start having scalping issues and cutting problems as the canopy gets really dense. So the mower's going to start, instead of like riding on the soil on the surface of the ground, it's going to begin floating over that thick canopy that you've been building up from that's been encouraged, one, by growth regulator and real mowing. So the one thing I would add to your list, in addition to what you're already talking about, is figuring out a strategy, figuring out some way to thin the turf out monthly. Throughout the between May and August timeframe. What some folks do is there is I think it's Sunjo makes them. Sunjo makes a machine that has like an interchangeable interchangeable cartridge that you can use for turf raking. So something like that would be good to add to your toolkit, your tool belt for next year if you're going to be real mowing and you're going to be using growth regulator. So just something to keep in mind. All right, next up is Tony Israel. He says, which dwarf Bermuda seed or sod would you recommend to use if cutting at 1/8 of an inch or lower? I live in South Carolina. I don't know the answer to that one, Tony. So like ultra dwarfs, as far as I've never grown one. I don't, it's not one that it's not something that I have a lot of direct experience with. As far as seed, I don't even know that. I don't know if that actually comes in seed. You might be sodding that. So I don't know the answer to your question because it's not an area that I've researched. If you want, I'll look into it. I'll ask around and also do some digging on that. And if you send me an email here to ron@golfcourselawn.com, I will get an answer for you. I'll let you know which of the dwarfs are, out of the Bermuda grass types are the ones that people like and get good results with, and give you a couple of different options. Yes, just drop me an email saying, hey, this is Tony from the live stream. You are going to research the ultra dwarf or a Bermuda grass that can be cut at greens heights. And I will do that, and I will get an answer for you. All right, so there you got it. ron@golfcourselawn.com. But again, I'm just going to say it one more again. You didn't answer this. You didn't ask this, but just know what you're signing up for when you decide you're going to have a green at home. Like, it's a lot of work. Like, you got to mow it literally every day if you want it to look good. If you want it to, if you want it to look like a green, you got to treat it like a green. And greens get mowed every day. So there is that. Ben Raham says, Primo on common Bermuda really tightens it up, makes it look closer to a hybrid at 3/4 of an inch. Nice, Ben. Yep, I could see that. I mean, Primo is awesome stuff, man. I gotta tell you, growth regulator, highly recommend it if you are looking to get the most out of your lawn care program. Great stuff. Jared George is back. He says, my total square feet is tiny. Front and back added up is just about 2,500 square feet. How long will that bottle last me? So this is a 4-ounce bottle. So if we take 0.75, take 4, I'll tell you real quick. We divide that by 0.75, you get like 5 months out of this. So one of these could theoretically do you for the entire season, Jared, because actually let me think about this. No, you have 2,500 square feet. So you get, in your case, 5,300 square feet of coverage. So one of these would be, 2 months. 2 months and change in your case is what you would get with this, given that you have 2,500 square feet. So 2 months is about what you would get out of a 4-ounce bottle of Primo. And again, there's nothing wrong with having a smaller lawn. I mean, people sometimes say, "Oh, my lawn's not that big," but the benefit of it is that, one, it costs less to take care of it, and you can get out there and mow it, and you're not making the wifey as mad because you're not out there forever. Like, I wouldn't imagine it would take you too long to mow your lawn. If you're gonna mow it, edge it, do everything. I mean, 30 minutes, maybe, not even that long. So there are definitely benefits to having a smaller lawn. And based on some quick math, back of the napkin math, I'm coming up with around 2 months and change out of a bottle of Primo in your case. Colin is up next. C. Pims is up in the house. He says, "What's happening, Ron? Hope your Friday's been well." It's been good. I can't complain. He says, "I think the paspalum has officially started dormancy. I notice I'm getting less in the last couple of mows." Nice. Yeah, it's the time of year for that. So yeah, I mean, it's sounds like it's doing what it's going to do. You know, that means less mowing for you. You get to relax and sit there and just plan and scheme for next year, like what you're going to do for your lawn care program. So it's looking less. I'm not sure I picked a regular picture of it. I know you sent me one last week. Yeah, I think this is it. So this is your lawn that you sent me. I think it was last week, and it's looking. Yeah, I could see it. The color's going out of it a little bit, but it still looks good. So good stuff, Colin. And the nice thing about where you are now with all the work you've done is that you're going to be further ahead of the game for next year, right? Like when you, like the better shape you can put, the lawn can be in when you put it to sleep, the better you're going to be when it comes out of dormancy in the springtime. And you're definitely doing a lot of the right things. So just keep it going. All right, next up is Tony Israel. He says, "By the way, I'm trying to develop a small putting green in my backyard." Cool. Yeah, Tony, no problem. Just drop me an email again, ron@golfcourselawn.com, and I will get an answer for you. As far as Bermuda grass types that are good for mowing at greens height. I wouldn't mow. I mean, again, I don't know if Tahoma 31 will even tolerate that, but if you're going to go through that much trouble getting a grass type that's specifically designed to be used as at really, really short heights, it's a finer leaf, is what I would go with versus trying to make, like, say, Tifway 419 or Tahoma 31 work at greens heights. Vahid Navi is up next. He says, "Hey, Ron, happy Friday. I just did something to my cool season lawn. I guess mowed lawn 1/2 inch 3 days ago, and I put down a fast release fertilizer yesterday. So from morning until now, we have had good rain." Cool. All right. So you mowed, you fertilized, and you got rain. Sounds like all good things to me. And then next up is Edward Thomas. He says, "Should you overseed your lawn every spring or fall? Is it necessary?" Okay, necessary? No, not necessary at all. I mean, first of all, as far as your grass type is important to know, Edward, if you have a warm season lawn and you want to overseed it in the fall to keep it green, like what Robert Rainey did right here, that's a strategy. Is it necessary? No, it's not necessary. But if you want your lawn, if you want a grass type like Bermuda and Zoysia, which typically go dormant in the fall, if you want Bermuda to look good, or you want your lawn to be green throughout the wintertime, then you have to overseed it with some kind of a cool season grass, like a perennial ryegrass. So strictly necessary? No, but it depends again on what you're after, like what goal you're trying to accomplish. And there's people that will overseed their lawns if you have a cool season lawn to help thicken it up. And if you need to do that, sure. But if your lawn is already looking great and it's all nice and dense, then what I would say is forgo the overseeding and apply a pre-emergent in the fall. Like I would choose that because that's going to keep weeds out of your lawn. Because when it comes to like overseeding or pre-emergent, the two is you really need to pick one or the other. I mean, there's some people that try and apply pre-emergent and then still try and overseed, and they tend to not get great results from that because, like, by the way that pre-emergent works, it's going to negatively impact your overseeding project. So, is it necessary? No. Can you do it? Sure. I mean, but you have to. I would go into it not just doing it because you see someone on YouTube saying, "Hey, you should overseed your lawn in the fall." It's more so like, what are you trying to accomplish? Does your lawn need it? And based on that, then you can decide whether it's for you or not. In Robert's case, he wants to be that guy and have his lawn looking awesome year round. So in his case, he overseeded his lawn and it looks like that, but strictly not necessary. But it looks really cool. Looks really cool. So to answer your question, Edward, necessary? No. Are there benefits to doing it? Yes. It just depends on you, on what you're trying to accomplish. Tom Hoffenkamp is up next. He says, "At Jared George, PGR on common uses twice as much as hybrid, like Ron is saying right now. So don't buy the 4-ounce bottle. You're going to love it. 4 ounces will be gone fast. I use Nutrisolve. Wicked." So you're the poster boy. You are leading the charge for Nutrisolve. You really like that micronutrient, huh, Tom? It's good. I'm glad to hear that. Sean Murphy's up next. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron. Looking forward to a great live stream. Temps dropping in Tampa, pre-emergent down 2 weeks ago, and no more growth regulator, only cutting once a week now. Sounds about like my life. Right now I'm on that once per week mowing, and really when I do that, hardly anything's coming off, you know? So yeah, I get it, Sean. I get it. No more growth regulator, and even the mowing is slowed down. But that's to be expected, right? That's what happens this time of year. All right, so here on the gram, we got They Call Me D in the house. We got a couple other folks coming to hang out. Like you guys are stopping by to say hello. Next up is Vahid Navi. He says, next week will be cold, and do you think I have a little time to grow and not get snow moles for next year? So yeah, it being cold is fine, Vahid. You getting snow mold, I wouldn't be terribly concerned about that unless you're doing things that are going to help create conditions to help cause that to happen. If you want some guidance on that, if you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to resources in our blog, there's a blog post on that very topic. It's from a few weeks ago. A month ago at this point. It talks about managing winter lawn diseases, your guide to a healthy lawn. So whereas the knowledge base was about, winterization, pretty much just the winterization post. It's like, what do you do to your equipment? What do you do to your irrigation system, to your lawn? This one is all about preventing lawn diseases, So it talks about like the ones you're talking about, snow mold, pink snow mold. I also talk about spring dead spot, even though it technically doesn't manifest itself now this time of year. I have some commentary in there as well too, the factors that contribute to that. So if you're interested, Vahid, I will send this to you free of charge. Costs absolutely nothing other than a bit of your time, and I think that you'll get some value out of it as far as keeping snow mold and other diseases out of your lawn. So hope that helps. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. Colin is back. He says, California weather has been interesting lately too. Almost feels like summer in fall time, with high 70s to low 80s. Shaking my head. Not here. This fall has been cold. Now, and I hope it's not a precursor for what we're going to get as far as the winter, right? Hopefully, Georgia weather does what Georgia weather does, and we have this little stretch of cool, and then it starts to warm back up. But yeah, it went from warm, like, 80s, 70s, 80s, 70s, 80s, and it fell off really quickly. And it's been consistently cold for the past couple of weeks. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just, whereas you are having what I would consider to be nice weather for this time of year, we are not. It's cooler than I would like it to be. Because I like the lawn to stay green just a little bit longer, All right, next up is Duranism. He says, hi, Ron. I believe you turf rake once a week during the growing season. Can you please talk to us about your turf raking routine as you transition into fall and winter? Thanks. Yeah, so I haven't been turf raking here lately, Durism. So going through, like, the last time I turf raked the lawn was the middle of it's been a month, middle of September. I've just been mowing it at this point. But throughout the growing season, like say starting in late April, I'll turf rake weekly and mow every other day, and then verticut once per month. And I just maintain that cadence all the way into September timeframe, and then I back off on it. And then when it comes to the time when I will turf rake again, even though it strictly doesn't need it, is when the lawn is completely dormant. I'll go out there and I'll turf rake it just so I can get like some really nice burnt in dormant stripes. So if you've seen any pictures of the lawn, if you go onto my Instagram, you'll see them. And even like some of the YouTube shorts you'll see from last year during the winter when the lawn was completely dormant, completely brown, I'll get out there and I'll turf rake it, really lightly, just to really get the stripes to be really nice and defined. It's not necessary at all. I do it strictly for aesthetic reasons, just because it looks really cool. Even though it's the grass is brown, it still looks really good for brown grass. The stripes are popping. So yeah, but the time I'd say that you would want to pick it up again would be next year in the spring. When it would become a necessity would be around that time. There are also folks that if you have access to one, whenever you do your scalping in the spring, turf raking right after that is a good idea too, because no matter how good a job you think you do with the scalping, there still ends up with being quite a bit of debris in the lawn. So if you can run a turf rake over the lawn after you're done with your spring scalp, that will clean a lot of that out and really set you up for success for the upcoming season. So outside of your turf raking right after a scalp, really it's not till like April, May that you really have to start doing it, or have to. But when I start seeing that it becomes beneficial to do it regularly. So hope that helps, tourism. Great question. The time of me turf raking this time of year is really more just for vanity, so the lawn looks kind of cool when it's dormant. No Name is up next. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron and fellow lawn enthusiasts. My lawn has started to check out in Woodstock, Georgia. Let's get those likes up. Yeah, let's do that, guys. We've got 103 people in the live stream right now and only 82 likes. Why come? How come? Surely we can do better than that. You know what? I'm gonna try and get LG to come out too. Archie was messing with him. That didn't do it. I'm gonna try and put on some Tango Bolero, have a sip of my lemonade and mint tea blend, and ask you guys hit that like button ever so gently. Doesn't cost anything. It's a free way to support the live stream. Ooh, that's good. That's good. All right, so next up we have Latanja Moore. Oh, Latanja, it's been a while. It's been a minute. Latanja Moore says, "Hello, Ron and friend." Thanks, Latanja. Thanks. Hopefully you're doing well. Hello. I met you at the Real Rollers, like the turf park party last year. So yeah, it's cool. Cool. Glad to see you're doing well. It's been a while. Bahid is saying, "After this rain, we have 6 days. This rain we have for 6 days, we'll have plus 18 degree temperatures." Wow, really? That's what's coming to. Where are you in the country, Bahid? That's not coming to Georgia, is it? Don't say that. Don't say we're having 18 degree temps not in October. That would be absolute insanity. Let's see here. Gainesville, Georgia. Let's see what does the weatherman say? It says, oh, hurricane's about to hit you guys. Why are you not I'm not sure why it's not there it is. Yeah, not here. We're not going to see 18 degree temps in the 10 day here. We are looking like, wow, yeah, now we're getting back to normal Georgia like fall weather. So this is the 10 day for Gainesville. So it's the high 70s. Oh, sorry, the low 70s. I'm sorry. Low 70s, high 50s, mid 50s, 47, 50s again. We've got some high 50s again here. So yeah, this is good. This is what I would expect to see based on the craziness we've been having the past couple of weeks. So this is good fall weather here in Georgia. So yeah, sorry if you're getting, I guess, plus 18 degree temperatures wherever you are, Vahid. That seems really cold for some year. But yeah, maybe you're further up north, maybe like North Dakota or Canada or something like that. Because I don't know anywhere in the country in the U.S. as yet where we're getting 18 degree temperatures. All right, next up is Lord Hog. Lord Hog is up next. It says, I think some of these products don't ship to California since some companies and shippers don't want to deal with Prop 65. Could be. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just the cost, man. Shipping stuff all the way out to the West Coast is not cheap. So there is that. Always Baked, Never Fried says, in the shade, can you do a Bermuda zoysia mix? I have one side of my house that is mostly shaded. You can always bake, never fry, but only the zoysia of the zoysia Bermuda blend is going to look good. You know what I mean? Like Bermuda just doesn't grow well in shade. It doesn't really matter what kind of grass you mix with it. It just doesn't do well in shade at all. So if you have an area that is largely shaded, does not get enough sunlight for the Bermuda to do well, what I would say is just go straight zoysia there. Zoysia is more shade tolerant than Bermuda. It still needs sunlight. Don't get me wrong. You can't like put zoysia under a tree, but it's it's more shade tolerant than Bermuda. I would skip doing a blend of Bermuda and zoysia because all that's going to happen is you're going to have like faded color grass. You're going to have like the green zoysia and you're going to have the Bermuda that is not going to be doing as well, just taking up space and displacing, an area that could have zoysia that is going to be green. So I would just do strictly zoysia. I would avoid putting any Bermuda in that area that you have a lot of shade on your house. So hope that helps, sir. I would just pick the zoysia. Go with that. And again, even though zoysia is more shade tolerant than Bermuda, it still needs sunlight. So I would not don't don't be surprised if the zoysia is better than Bermuda, but it doesn't do as well as, say, the zoysia that's away from the house and gets several hours of direct sunlight throughout the day. So make sure you have your expectations and make sure they're realistic. Is just what I'm trying to tell you. All right, Brian Baldino is up next. He says, hey, Ron, thanks for the chat this afternoon about the turf fields in my town, the ones that are better for the environment. Oh, cool. Yeah, Brian, no worries at all for that. Thanks for asking the question. I think you were talking about us going back and forth over YouTube, right? Over YouTube, the YouTube comments. Yeah, I think I remember going back and forth with you over that. Good stuff. All right, next up is Latanja Moore. She says, I've been MIA for a while because I am mad. Broke the manual reel. Between that and fungus I was losing, was just going to wait until next season, only to find I have a mole or moles. Wow. So your mower broke, you got some disease problems in the lawn, and you got moles moving in. That's, man, when it rains, it pours, Latanja. But it'll get better. I mean, you can fix the real mower, fix or replace it. And, you can apply a fungicide to help with the disease problem. And the moles, you can target their food source. You can use poisons, traps, baits. There's always the stick. You can apply the stick. You can do a lot of different things to try and get rid of them. But I would not give up. From what I remember, your lawn was starting to look pretty good when you got the real mower and you're starting to do that. So I would not. I mean, setbacks are a common thing. It happens. No lawn looks awesome year round all the time. You're always going to have struggles here and there. So I would just keep going. If you don't quit, you can't lose, right? So just pick it up and just don't let the lawn, just don't let it go away, because here's why, right? If next year you decide you're going to pick this up again and you're going to go at it, you want to put the lawn to bed in as good a state as you can, so that next year you're further ahead. Because if you don't do anything, you kind of neglect it, let it just do its own thing until March next year, then you're further behind the curve, right? You're going to be correcting issues that you could have corrected now. So I would say, I know it's frustrating and irritating and probably a bunch of other things, but I would not throw in the towel, because you're just making your 2024 season not as good as it could be if you address the issues now. All right, next up is Antoine. He says, I want to level my lawn in Georgia. When should I apply sand? Great question, Antoine. The time I like to do that is in late April to early May. Late spring is a great time to do top dressing in Georgia, because it's not quite as hot outside. If you're going to be the one doing it, we tend to get quite a bit of rainfall in Georgia, which is going to help the top dressing settle. It's going to help work it in, which is also nice. And, the earlier in the season you can do it, again, late April, early May. If you're having a service do it, it's easier to get on their calendar that time than if you wait until June timeframe. So April and May late April, early May timeframe is when I have done the majority of the top dressing that I've done on my lawn, and I find that it produces a great result. So I hope that helps. Late April, early May. That's a good time, great time in the state of Georgia to go do that. And around that time next year, what tends to happen also too is, if you're in Georgia and you're doing it yourself, Super Sod, like they make a leveling mix, 70% sand, 30% compost. If you can swing it, like that is what I would tell you to go with for top dressing your lawn, for leveling your lawn. Especially if you're doing it yourself, it's a great product. It's really easy to work with. There's not a bunch of debris, trash in it. And that is what I would use if you're going to do a lawn leveling project next year. If you want to also save a little bit of money, it's not going to cost you any more. Actually, save a bit of money on a big yellow bag of leveling mix. You can use this link rather, and it'll save you some money. So you're not paying any extra for it, and it's a great product. Again, whenever I'm doing top dressing myself, that is what I use. I mean, I switched to that a few years back, and it's the best stuff in my opinion, if you live in a state where you can actually get it, which Georgia happens to be one of those states. And if you want to see what I am talking about, it's this stuff right here. So you have their hummus compost, their veggie product, their vegetable garden mix, and then this is stuff you're going to want here, which is the leveling mix, right? And this is, if you look at that, it's super clean material. Like you don't see any stones, debris, any garbage, any kind of trash in that. And that is why you want that, because whenever it comes to leveling, leveling is one part of the equation. But then if you ever level your lawn with like bad top dressing mix, where it has a lot of stones and bark and peanut shells, all this other garbage in it, you're going to spend a whole lot of time cleaning that stuff out. And if you're real mowing, it's especially a hassle because you don't want to run over that stuff with a real mower, right? So it's just going with that. You pay a little bit more for it. Like that price includes it being delivered. You get a better product. It's going to be easier to work in. You're not going to have much of trash in it. And ultimately, it's the blend that I would recommend, where you're getting 70% sand to help with the structure, like smoothing out those uneven areas. And the 30% compost is going to help introduce more organic material to the soil, which is going to help everything work better. It's going to help improve the soil quality, which, by extension, is going to make your grass do better. So for those reasons, I would go with that, but not until April or May of next year. Keith Madison says, good evening, Ron. So yeah, F1 is at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Bermuda is slowly going to sleep across much of Georgia. I was in Canton on Tuesday. Yards look mostly dormant. Here in Houston, still holding on to the green. Smash that like button, lawn enthusiast. It took me forever to be able to say that properly. I used to say Houston all the time and say, no, someone told me it's Houston. I'm like, how do you look at that word and get Houston? It's also like we had Alex's brother-in-law's wife. Yeah, they moved down from Minnesota. And in Georgia we have a town called Dahlonega. And if you look at how it's spelled, you would think it's like Dahlonega is how you would if you're just like sounding it out, that's how it would come out. But it's like, no, it's not Dahlonega, it's Dahlonega. So it's kind of like Houston. You'd say Houston, but it's Houston. So it's just some of those things about the South, about the Georgia South, right? But the name, how you pronounce cities. But yeah, Circuit of the Americas. I'm looking forward to it. I didn't get to see the end of practice one. I think they're doing the practice, and then there's the qualifying, and then tomorrow's a sprint, and then the actual race Sunday. So I gotta, depending what time I get out of the live stream, I might actually watch qualifying. We'll see. Okay, Tom Hovenkamp is up next. He says, my soil test has 4 tests showing on my online record now, and it looks amazing. Purple is color number 4. Ron, what color are you on with all your soil tests? Great tool for success. I don't know. Here's the thing. I tend to only compare 2 at a time. I don't think the colors, like the more samples you try to compare, the more colors it introduces, you can tell them apart. But I tend to compare 2 samples at a time. I don't tend to do it like a whole bunch of them. So if you got 4 and you're getting up to purple, that would be that. I've never tried adding more than like 3. I don't think I've ever done more than 3 to know what the colors change to. Like I could try it and see, but I don't. It would be. I got a few. I'm definitely someone that soil tests Milan a lot. So and I've been doing it for years. So I don't know. I'm not sure what color it goes up to whenever you get up there. Let's see. Let us see. Now you got me curious, Tom. Let's see. So if I want to do a comparison, let's see here. I'm back up. So if we say compare reports, and if I pick, I'm just going to do this live with you guys. And if I just pick this one, I'll just pick a bunch of them. It doesn't really matter. These are not all mine. We'll just pick, like, say you did 4. Let's say we'll pick 6, and then we'll say compare samples. It's probably going to say too many. So it does. It looks like blue, another blue, a purple, another blue, a lighter shade of purple. Or is that green? Maybe I'm colorblind. Look, maybe this is a green right here. I don't know. So yeah, it keeps adding colors as you go down. You can see them. Yeah, that's a green. So yeah, you can see how it does that. But I don't see a ton of value in this. I find that 2, 3 at the most is good for just getting some trend data. So there you go. You get to see what happens when you do more than 4 soil tests. All right, Los is up next. He says, "Happy Friday, everyone." What's going on, Los? All right, next up is Platinum Exteriors. Actually, no, first we have Alfred NV on Instagram saying, "Happy Friday, Ron." What's going on, Alfred NV? Thank you so much for coming to hang out. And the next up is Platinum Exteriors. It says, is it the Platinum Exteriors? No, there's a place in Georgia that does that does like renovations. Maybe it's a different one. He says, "Ron, I recently planted 100% Kentucky bluegrass. I live in Wisconsin." Nope, there's an answer to that question. And it's starting to get cooler. I think my lawn is getting a disease. I'm seeing yellow tips on the grass blades in spots approximately 3 inches. What do you think? Tough to say without pictures, platinum exteriors. I mean, it could be a disease problem that's starting to set in. Thing I would tell you first to do is check your mowing equipment. Like get down there and first look at the edges, the tips of the grass blades. If the cut is clean, like if the cut is nice and clean, then it could be a disease problem, right? But if you've got it where the cuts are the edges of the grass, they're like torn or frayed, with a real mower, a lot of times it'll be pinched and like be pinched and like elongated. If that's happening, I would set one sharpen your mower and make sure it's set up properly before you get out there and start, hitting the lawn with fungicide. It could be a disease problem. I don't have a picture of it to be able to know what you're dealing with, but grades on the grass at approximately 3 inches. I mean, it very well could be, but get down on your knees and actually look at the tips of the grass first. And the telltale sign, the thing I would tell you to check first is make sure that you're getting a clean cut on the on the grass when you're mowing it. If you're not, fix that first. And then again, it doesn't hurt to apply a fungicide, but I'd want to diagnose what's causing the problem, before we get out there and just start throwing stuff at it. So hope that helps. If you want to send me a picture of it so I can take a look and give you my thoughts on the matter, my email is ron@golfcourselawn.com. Feel free to drop me a line, send me some pictures of it, and I will do my best to help you out. All right, so Devin is saying, Robert, it's on. We actually went back to that. We already did that particular part. Robert says, congrats, Devin. Ron started. I just said, how had I started? Why are you putting me in this? Don't put me in between you and Devin and y'all's y'all's West Side Story when it comes to lawn care. I am not responsible for that. I just did a stripe action contest. I had a cool season category and a warm season category. Robert, you were clearly in the warm season category. However, you, like the UFC fighter, has knocked out everyone in his weight classes. You know what? I'm gonna go up and wait. I'm gonna go up and jump into this ring and I'm gonna go and fight with them. And that's not me. Just because I provide the ring, I provide the octagon, does not mean that I told you to switch weight classes. So this is not my fault. Not my fault. All right. Next is Devin. He says, thanks, Robert. The ride looks mint. It does look really good, right? And then Ben Raham is up next. He says, all the hard work helps, but you helping make great prices available with advice contributes to the whole community. Love the carbon kit, Primo split apps, my soil kits. Yes, thanks. I am glad to hear that, Ben. It really does mean a lot because the thing is, when I started the store and I was like, you guys know, I'm heavily on YouTube, and you get to realize that not everybody wants to watch YouTube videos. I mean, believe me, I was shocked too. I was thinking, man, but I put so much time and effort in the YouTube videos. Why would you just not want to watch that? There are some people that just like to read stuff. They prefer to read and take their time and sit down with a cup of lemonade or tea or bourbon in some cases, and read content about lawn care versus like watching me like yap on about it. So that's why the blog has been something that I've been doing. Like pretty much whenever I get a question, if I have to answer the same question more than like twice, it's going to get turned into a blog post, because then one, it scales better. I'm not answering the same thing over and over and over again, and I can say, hey, just go read this, and that will get you on your way. But I'm glad to hear that, Ben. I'm glad to hear that the store has been a resource and that the content's been useful for you getting the lawn the way you have it. So thanks. It does really mean a lot. Makes all the hard work really worth it. Tito Serrano is next. He says, why isn't Certainty sold in single packs like Celsius? New Farm just doesn't make it available in smaller amounts. I don't know. It's just, they don't like, you want it, I mean, you remember it already comes in 1 1/4 ounce. I mean, this is a pretty small bottle. I mean, if you look at what Certainty, like this will do an acre at the 1.25 ounce rate. So like that's the bottle of Certainty there. I mean, that's already pretty small. I mean, and this little bit will do an acre. And I guess for them, it's just not worth the headache of doing like what Bayer did or Enview did, as far as like doing the single packets, like what they did with Celsius. Because this, while it may seem really easy to say, hey, just take whatever's in that and put it in a smaller packet and then start selling that, there's a whole lot of headache when you have these really big companies. I mean, I am sure there is probably months of meetings with attorneys and everyone involved just over the packaging for this. Just the fact that it is in this form factor, like there's a whole lot of work that goes in just to making it like this. And then there's actually the packet itself, and then all the information has to go on the label. And it's just there's a lot more to it than just taking what's in a bigger bottle and putting it in smaller amounts and selling it. And given that I personally think that a 1.25 ounce bottle is a good size for certainty. But that size works for both residential lawns and even people that are spraying bigger properties. They just don't see any need to do it because it costs them money to do that, and I'm guessing at this point they just don't. It's not worth it to them. The juice isn't worth the squeeze is what I'm trying to say, Tito, unfortunately. So you can always, at least you can get Celsius in the small packets, right? So it's not as easy as just putting it in a smaller bottle, even like this, because I got the chance to talk to one of the account reps when it comes Syngenta, when it comes to like Primo. Like Primo's been available in gallon. It may even come in 2.5 gallons, but I know it definitely comes in gallons. And a same thing for Acelepryn, right? Like this has come in, in much larger quantities than this. Like the amount of work and the amount of time it took to take Primo, which already comes in gallon, maybe 2.5 gallons as well too, and put it in a container of this size, a 4-ounce container. Like there's designing this, it's labeling it properly. It's again, the attorneys have to look over it and bless it and make sure that everything's right. Again, like there's an EPA registration number that has to be done for this, even though it's like the same product. I mean, it's a whole lot of work and expense, and they have to figure out a way to recoup their costs if they do that. So for Primo, it makes sense because there's a lot of homeowners that will use that. It works on cool season lawns, on warm season lawns. So there's a bigger customer base for Acelepryn and growth regulator. Certainty is a specialty type herbicide that is absolutely amazing on sedges and also really good against poa annua, but it's only for warm season grass, right? So right there, you're already cutting down the number of people that will buy it because it's only for warm season turf. And then second, even the people that have warm season turf, not everyone has weeds in their lawn. Not everyone is going to need a herbicide like that. You know what I mean? So for those reasons, I imagine is why they haven't done it as yet. All right, so next up is, I'm not sure, it's someone else. Next up is Vito C. He says, how did Ron become so passionate about the turf? I think, you know what? I think you turn into your parents when you get older. So when I was younger, I actually hated mowing grass. My dad loved it. He still loves mowing grass. And when I moved in here and I saw the lawn, I said, you know what, this could look really, I mean, it believe it or not, the lawn didn't look like how it always looked. When I first moved in, it did not look anything like how it looks now. But I saw the potential. I said, you know what, this looks decent, but this could be really nice. This could look pretty awesome if I put some work into it. It could look like a golf course. So then I started real mowing it. I got a push reel mower, started push reel mowing it. And then the thing that really what caused things to go crazy is I have a neighbor that lives about a 9-iron from me, and he was out there with his True Cut one day mowing his front lawn, and he said, I was looking at this lawn, I said, man, it looks awesome. Your lawn looks incredible. Looking at my lawn, look pretty good as I was push wheel mowing. It looked better than most. I said, man, your lawn looks incredible. He says, yeah, man. I figure you just use the push wheel mower because you like the exercise, but if you really want it to look good, you gotta get a power wheel mower. Like, does it make them? I said, and I asked the question, does it make that much of a difference? He says, here, man, just borrow mine. Go try it out. Go take it out on your lawn, give it a go. And yeah, the rest is history, right? So I still have a True Cut. I bought a True Cut, and then I got a Greensmaster, and then I have my outlet. So I am, so it's not something that just happened overnight, right? It's the constant chase of trying to get the lawn looking as good as it possibly can. And for those of you guys that have been watching the channel for a while, you guys know I'm also into martial arts, right? I'm also a martial artist, and there's a lot of parallels between lawn care and martial arts. There really are, because it's one of those things where you never get it 100% right all the time. And even when you get it to the point where you say, you know what, that was a really good form. Like I did that form, that was really good. It's not always going to be that way. And same thing with your lawn. Like when you work at it, with my lawn, I always say I get maybe 3 weeks out of the year when I'm really happy with my lawn. And it's normally in the month of June. Like June going into July is when, in my opinion, my lawn looks its absolute best. And that's when I'm like, yep, that's when it's looking absolutely awesome. And it's a chase. It's a chase of always trying to figure out how can I extend that? How can I play with different fertilizer combinations, different programs to try and get the best result. So the fact that it's never perfect and that there's always something to work on, For some people, they would find that to be frustrating, but I like that. Like I like the fact that it's never 100%. Because the thing is, if I could come up with a product called Awesome Lawn, and you could buy it and you spray it on your lawn looks awesome, and that's it. You never have to worry about it again. Then you'd get tired of your lawn. You wouldn't work on it anymore, because it's just human nature. Like whenever something is perfect and we just, it's like in great shape, we don't take it. I mean, it becomes less cool. You know what I mean? It becomes less interesting. So the journey is why I like lawn care, because it, again, parallels to martial arts in many ways. And there's always something new to learn, always something cool to work on. There's always new products, new technologies coming out. You know what I mean? Like, for example, years past, if you had a St. Augustine lawn, you had Bermuda grass in it, there wasn't really a good way to get rid of Bermuda grass. And the answer used to be, well, sorry, your choices are, you can just not deal, you can deal with it. You can use like glyphosate and kill the Bermuda grass, but you're also going to damage your St. Augustine. And now, like, Syngenta, earlier this year announced Recognition, which is a really awesome product that now allows you to control, Bermuda grass in St. Augustine. So the fact that it's always getting better, like the state of the art is always getting better and better and better, makes it fun. So hopefully that makes sense as to why I like it. It's never boring. That's the thing. If you're really into lawn care, it's not, there's never a boring moment. And here's the thing, I'm really just a warm season guy. I know a little bit about cool season grass, but I'm mainly focused on warm season grass. So, if you decided to become an expert at like warm season and cool season, I mean, think take you years and years and years, take you probably decades to do it, right? So that's what makes it fun. All right, next up is Aaron T. Aaron T's up with a super chat. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Super chat received.
He says, happy Friday. Love all your content as always. And thank you, Ron. I got my Miramichi t-shirt last week. Nice. Cheers all. Eagle Rare on deck tonight. AA Ron. Dude, I have a bottle of that. That's actually, it's actually, you know what? For the price, a very good bourbon. I think it's a good, if you're talking about the same stuff that I'm talking about, it's like a gray label on the bottle. If you're thinking about the same product or the same bottle that I'm thinking about, it's good for the money. It punches well above its weight. I would agree. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate all the love and support. Franco Photography says, hello, Orlando, Florida. It's a good time to herbicide St. Augustine now. I mean, yes and no. It depends on what you're going for, Franco. If you've not yet applied a Pre-emergent, which is a herbicide that is used to help prevent weeds from becoming a problem in your lawn, yes, I would absolutely do that. If you have other weeds that are currently existing in your lawn, yeah, you can also control them with herbicides. So it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Pre-emergent, yes, I'm a fan of doing that twice per year, once in the springtime, once in the fall. And then if you have weeds that are actively in your lawn now, then yeah, you can also take care of those too. So the answer to the question in both cases is yes. To help with this, again, makes you feel good because I can reference a blog post on this. To help with weed control in the fall, there's a blog post that we did a few months back now at this point that is all about fall, the ultimate guide to fall weed control. And it covers both, Franco. It talks about pre-emergent, it talks about post-emergent, talks about common fall lawn, common weeds in the fall, but post-emergent herbicides, combining pre-emergent and post-emergent herbicides together. I know, say less, right? Wow. Crazy talk. Talks about all that. Talks about different options for herbicides, for pre-emergent herbicides. Talks about the time to do it, what weeds it will help prevent, weed life cycle, like all this fun stuff. As well as post-emergent herbicides to get rid of the weeds that are currently in your lawn. So if you would like to read that, it is free for you to do so. I will send you the link here in the chat now to the ultimate guide on fall weed control. And hopefully you get some value out of it. I've gotten some good feedback on that one. So hopefully you enjoy it as well too. And for those of you guys on the gram, I want you guys to be left out. I'll paste that in there as well so you guys can see it. So yes, hope that helps, Franco. The answer is yes. And if you have any other questions, let me know. And then Adam says, by the way, the TifTuf Bermuda in the backyard is mostly brown now. And you saw how green the Xeon Zoysia still is. Yep, it still is. I mean, Zoysia holds on to its color a bit better and longer than Bermuda does. So I'm not surprised by that. All right, Larry's in the house. Yeah, he says, hey, Ron, I'm late to the party. I had a customer here checking in on his bike project. Nice Friday online with you again. So yeah, so Larry was one of the projects I want to update you guys on. He did a seeding project on his lawn, so I want to show you guys that as well. Glad that you're here, Larry. So this is picture one, some images he sent me for the live stream. So you can see the grass is growing in. This was bare dirt. It's coming in pretty nicely. And then picture two, you can see that's filling in. That's a nice shot. Again, you can see it's starting to thicken up. It's still not 100% yet. And then the final area right here, which is thickening up very nicely. You still got it, yellow taped off, but I mean, your seeding project is coming in quite well, Larry. It doesn't look like you're dealing with too much shade. Based on where the sun is, it looks like that area gets plenty of sunlight. So I have no doubt that it's going to do well. So nice. Thanks for sending the pictures, man. I'm glad the renovation or the seeding project is going well, and thank you for checking in on the live stream. Appreciate it. Bill Stewart is up next. He says, "Hey, Ron, I'm mad at you." Okay, what I do now? I mean, I'm you can never win. He says, "Now that my lawn is so healthy, my push mower can no longer get through it. Revolution 26 is on order. You're costing me money. LOL." Okay, so this sounds like an argue. This sounds like your wife's significant other, whoever, was saying, "Why are you buying another mower?" And I am being unable to defend myself and being thrown under the bus, saying, "Well, sweetie, I want to work on the lawn and get it better. And Ron said to get all this stuff, and I've been using it in the lawn, and the lawn looks really great. But now my mower is inadequate." Here's the thing, Bill. This is the equivalent of like car guys. You ever see someone that starts working on their car, starts doing like a tuner car, where whatever. Say you first you build the engine, right? So you want to make more power, you want to make more reliable horsepower. That's always the thing. That's always the chase. Reliable horsepower. So you build the engines, the engine's bulletproof. And now the trannies is the weak point. You got to build that. No, now the axles are the weak points. You got to go do that. It's kind of like a never-ending thing. So now in your case, you're moving from the push mower to the Revolution 26, and you're saying it's my fault. It is not my fault. It's not my fault. But at any rate, we'll clap it up for you. Congrats on the new mower. Revolution 26 is a good choice. I can't wait to see the results you guys produce with it. I really liked it. It's a really, really well designed bit of kit. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it when you guys get your hands on it. Alex liked it. I liked it. It climbs hills really well, cuts well. It's solid, especially for the price point, especially for the money. You know what I mean? Like that mower could cost quite a bit more than it does, and it would still be worth it. So at $2,800 or $2,900, whatever it is now, it's good value for money. Good value for money. So keep me posted on as far as how it goes, Bill. And it's fine. I'm fine to be the scapegoat. I'm fine to be the scapegoat if it means you getting better equipment so you can have a better lawn. I'm good with it. All right, Stephen Toast Thompson is up next. He says, long question. Oh boy. He says, "Ron, I put down spectacle flow quite early, and I can't tell if I'm getting some POA coming in or some sedge. It doesn't look like sedge, the sedge I have in the back. We had a ton of rainfall after I applied, and it's on a slope. I've also been seeing a lot of web-like material on the front yard in the afternoon and wondering if it's the start of dollar spot. It could be dollar spot. Long-winded question, but thank you for all the info." Okay, so is it POA? You'll know it's POA because with POA in the center, it'll produce like white seed heads. When it flowers, like the seed heads will be white. Like sedges, like nut sedge, it tends to be, it's like shiny, and you know what? I can show you a picture. Why talk about this when I can show you pictures? Where can I find one? I know I've got some. I think under certainty, I've got some pictures of both actually. All right, so this is Poanua. So you can see there. You see like the white seed head there, like that's being the flower. Like that's POA. I can see how you would convince it for sedges, sort of in the sense that it's a nice bright green, but it looks quite a bit different from sedges. So that's Poanua. This is sedge, is nut sedge. So you see how it's like a thinner leaf and it's shiny and tends to get quite a bit longer. So POA, white flower, white seed head there, and it tends to grow out of the middle of it. And then sedges, this is just one type of sedge, is going to be a shinier, like finer grass. You know what I mean? POA tends to grow more kind of bunching, like more tends to go closer to the ground, whereas sedges left unchecked will get pretty tall. Like this in this video where I was spraying this, these were over a foot tall. So yeah, this is another picture of POA. You can see the seed heads there as well. So hopefully that's useful. What I'll do for you, Stephen, is I'll give you this link to Certainty, and you can just go through the images, and you can use that as an example to figure out which one you got. So yes, let me see. So, and you are on Facebook, so I can't use this will do it right there. So that's where you can find that, Stephen. You can find the pictures of both POA and sedges under the Certainty product description in the image carousel. Sorry you're dealing with that, but fortunately there are ways around it. And the webs, like the webs that you see on the lawn, that could be dollar spot. Like that's a common telltale sign of dollar spot in your lawn. So very well could be that. In which case you could apply a fungicide if you want. Whatever you use, you could use like Pillar SC is a great option for dollar spot, or you could spray a fungicide that has propiconazole in it. So yeah, so something with propiconazole in it or Pillar SC will also take care of dollar spot. So, and a bunch of other lawn diseases as well. Like a lot of the common ones, Pillar SC will cover you. And because you're especially nice, I'll tell you where you can find them both. I'll say, let me see, fungicides, 100 here. You can find them right there on the Golf Course Lawn Store. So hope that helps. All right, now the hard part, finding where I left off. You know, it's funny. I've played the music. Archie's called him out. We've seen no LG tonight, guys. We have to send a search party. I'm not sure what's going on. This is not like him. All right. All right, so next up is Mary. Mary Richardson. She says, can you comment on fescue grass cutting height in an area under high fire danger due to high winds? I mean, I would cut fescue at whatever heights, typically 3 inches on the low end, 4 or 5 inches on the high end. That's the range that I would keep it in. I don't know what the fire danger and wind, what difference that would make to the cutting height for your fescue lawn. I mean, if you have like a fire in your area and it sweeps over your lawn, I don't think it really matters if it's cut at 5 inches or it's cut at like half an inch, it's going to get damaged, right? So I don't know. I'm not sure what you're asking, Mary. So I apologize. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, like what the fire danger and the wind has to do with your cutting height, but I would just go with between three inches on the low end to 4 to 5 inches on the high end for your fescue lawn. That is where I would maintain that. Andre Taylor's up next. He says, happy Friday, Ron. What's going on, Andre? And then next we has Andre's back. He says, happy Friday, Ron, and many thanks for sharing your opinion on the soil test. Since the lawn is heading into dormancy, we'll wait to apply complete 14714. Sounds like a plan. I like it, Andre. Next up is CRM. He says, happy Friday, Ron. South Florida, below the frost line, with St. Augustine. If implementing Essential G and the carbon kit, is it necessary to do the initial 20-pound application, or would doing a lower application still work? Yes, doing it at the lower rate is still going to be fine, especially if you're going to be doing it regularly. You know what I mean? If you're only going to do it once, then yeah, I would go heavier. But if you're going to be doing it regularly, which is what I recommend, then if you want to, you start at 10 pounds per thousand or 8 pounds per thousand, which is really the lowest I would go. And you're just going to do that regularly, that's going to be fine too. It'll still build up in the soil over time. You're going to be okay. So not strictly necessary to go with a 20 pound per thousand rate the first time. It is what I recommend, but you don't strictly have to do that, especially if you're going to be regularly using Essential G in your lawn care program. And congrats on living beneath the frost line. That way you can play year round, right? Which is kind of nice. All right, next up we have. See here, nope. Next up we have Frazical. Frazical says, howdy, Ron. I tried to send pictures of my yard issue, but obviously I'm challenged. My challenge now is, I'm in Austin, Texas. I've been torn on light verticutting the lawn. Is there time for the lawn to recover? I wouldn't this time of year, Frazical. I wouldn't. The last time I would verticut would be, I mean, if it's still hot out, like August time frame for most residential lawns, that's when I would begin shutting that down. Like the last time I did mine was in July, and then I just transitioned to turf raking in August and September. The last time I verticut was the end of July going into August. So I wouldn't do it now. It's if your weather's along the lines of what we have, you're probably a bit warmer than where we are, but it's still at the point in the season where your grass is going to be growing slower. So I really wouldn't verticut it this time of year. I would wait until I'd wait until next year. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it now. Okay, Mary Richardson is back. She says, will lawn fungicide help reduce black mold, which can be seen on southern patios and concrete over the winter? No. So if you got like black mold, well, it's almost like algae. That tends to happen, Mary, on lawns that don't drain well. So if your lawn is like, say you're in the south, sounds like you're in the south somewhere, maybe in Georgia, and whenever it rains, water settles and stays there for a while to where it doesn't drain. That can create conditions where you can start having algae on the lawn. On the patio, it could be the same thing. Water's just settling there, and you start getting some algae buildup. I mean, for the lawn, I would say fix the drainage, correct the drainage problem, and you can do that with core aeration and top dressing. For the patio, a pressure washer, like bleach in a pressure washer, is what I would say to do. So hope that helps. Fungicide is not gonna help in either of those cases. So yeah, if I understand your question properly, that is what I would do. Improve drainage in the lawn, and then a pressure washer on patios and concrete. Great question. So yeah, fungicides are for lawn diseases, not for not for like black. If you're thinking about like algae, when you say black mold, I'm thinking you're talking about like algae. So yeah, I would not apply a fungicide. Definitely not to your patio or concrete areas to try and correct that. It's the wrong tool for the job. Wrong tool for the job. And you know what, Mary, I think we've got a blog post on mold. I think we do. I'm almost positive. That's the next thing I gotta implement. Gives me an idea of what I want to. I'm gonna send you 2 blog posts. This first one is how to help drainage in your lawn. So I'm gonna talk about that. I'm gonna send you that link to that one, Mary. And there's another one that specifically speaks to like moss and algae and how to correct that. Yeah, here we go. So got you. So Mary Richardson. I knew a Mary Richardson back in Statia, back in the Caribbean. I knew a Mary Richardson. I used to work with her. So there's that for how to help drainage, and then there's another one here. They're similar, but this talks about how to get rid of moss in your lawn. So between these 2 blog posts, actually that's too long. Undo that one. Control Z. Command Z. So yep. So between this one and this one, you should be all squared away. So hope that helps, Mary. Fungicide, if I'm understanding your question right, fungicide is not what I would use to help correct that particular problem. All right, next up, Progression Decibel, saying, love in the mid-70s we're having here in Georgia. Did a Bermuda final cut at 1.5 inches and cleaned off all the lawn tools. Look at you. Like, you cut the lawn, you cleaned up all your equipment, you're putting it to bed. Hopefully I don't have to mow again for the season. Yeah, that's wishful thinking. I think you're gonna have to get the mower out again, man. It's only like late October. We're not now, do you have to? No, but are you more than likely? In other words, are you going to be able to mow again if you wanted to this year? Yes. We're not done until the spring. It says, hope I don't have to mow again. Turf is going light green. Yeah, so it's still light green. It means it's still growing slowly, but it's still growing. So all the other tools will be fine, but you may have to break that mower out again. Progression Decibel. I think you may have gotten a little bit too too ambitious on thinking you're done with the mower this year already. All right, Devin says, just sent you an email with pics of the yard 5 weeks since it went down. So I can find those really quick. Devin, actually, I'll just do search. I think I can find you. There we go. Devin, state of the lawn and current. Ooh, that looks good. Is that snow? Why do you guys have snow already? What is wrong? Devin, you need to move, man. Goodness gracious. Why is there already like that stuff all over the ground? That's craziness. It's craziness. Why? Man, I mean, the view's nice, but good Lord, God bless, man. Snow already in October? I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it, man. We couldn't be. I could not make it happen. Yeah, that does look like. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it looks like snow. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's because the to the left at like 9 o'clock, it looks like snow, but maybe I'm wrong. All right. So this is a picture of what his lawn looks like now. Plus 10 points for the view. Let me get this on the channel here. Right there. So that is what his lawn looks like now. And on the left, like at the 9 o'clock spot, that looks like snow, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Because yeah, actually I'm probably wrong, because if there were snow, you would see it all over the mountains, and there's not. So maybe it's just maybe it's concrete or white, something else that looks white. Maybe it's salt or something you guys are putting down. I don't know. At any rate, the lawn looks good. The color looks nice. You know, I have to admit the stripe action is there. Yeah. And you said it's going into winter perfectly. And also my soil test was money. Very, very nice. Glad that you got your soil test and that you're happy with the 5-blade. You're going every day with the 5-blade reel and on a weekly spray program, and it's going into winter perfectly. Cool. So you're using the 5-blade, so you're not breaking out. So you see what's going on there, Robert? He's using the 5-blade. Sounds like a 5-blade push mower. So he's holding back, I'm thinking, the reel mower, the powered reel mower, the Greensmaster, until next year. So it's kind of like he's showing, we see like a fighter, he's showing like some of his combinations, but he's not showing all the work he's putting in. That's what this is. This is like, this is a little bit of, it's a little bit of show, but not showing too much. That's what's going on. So I think he's going to come out swinging next year. That's what I think is going to happen. All right, well, I'm glad the soil test was money. Glad that the view you have is incredible, which is just pretty awesome. And I have no doubt the lawn is going to be a force to be reckoned with next season. All right, Progression Decibel is back. He says, I have natural edges around my landscape beds, and there's patches of Bermuda in them. Am I doomed to hand pulling, or is there a selective herbicide to use? Worried about runoff to the actual lawn. What kind of grass do you have? This question would be much easier to answer if I knew what kind of grass you have. You said, is it Bermuda? Because you did a Bermuda final cut. Okay, so you do have Bermuda. So I just have a bad memory. You did tell me. So you have Bermuda, and you have some in the beds. So what I have found, Progression Decibel, if you want to get rid of the Bermuda in beds, in mulch beds, is Fusilade and glyphosate. That combination is money. Does an awesome job. It's the only one and done that I have found to date against Bermuda. Now, it's not really selective, so you absolutely do not want to get it on your lawn. And what you will find is this, right? Is if you spray the mulch beds like 6 inches or so where the grass meets the mulch beds. So in my case, I have grass, I have pavers, and then I have like the mulch beds, right? So grass, pavers, mulch beds. Whenever I use Fusilade and glyphosate, that combination in the mulch beds, about 6 inches or so, 4 to 6 inches or so into the lawn, it didn't die, but it got slightly discolored. So some of the, I don't know if it was necessarily runoff or just some of it moving. So like the Bermuda that's in the mulch beds started in the lawn. So some of the herbicide is likely translocating, moving through the plant, and it injured some of the grass or discolored some of the grass temporarily that's in the lawn. So you could see that. It's really not that big of a deal. It's not, unless you really are looking at it, it doesn't really stand out. And that's what I would use for controlling Bermuda in mulch beds. That combination again works very well. I mean, again, Fusilade and glyphosate, awesome combination. It is not selective, but that does, like 2 weeks after you spray it, the Bermuda's really gonna do a number on it. It's great option. And I have a video where I showed how I mix that from August of last year. So I'm going to send that to you now. And again, I want to emphasize this. This is non-selective, non-selective, meaning you cannot use this on your lawn. Don't spray it on your lawn. It's going to kill your grass if you do that. But if you're trying to control mulch beds or sidewalks or hardscapes, anywhere where you just don't want Bermuda grass, then this combination works very well. Just be careful. What I would say if you're doing this, what I did on progression is get a piece of cardboard whenever you're spraying and have that between the spray, like the wand and the lawn, just so that if there's any, just a little bit of drift, you minimize that, you keep it on the cardboard, doesn't get into the grass. And then outside of that, again, a couple of weeks later, you're going to see the Bermuda grass really begin to die off, and you'll be happy with it. You'll like the results you get. And then all you can be pulling is just dead Bermuda out of the beds. So that is what I would do. Just be careful with it. All right, next is Jimmy Crackcorn. Okay. Actually, first, I got a super chat from Rich V. Let me get that really quick. Got two of them. First of all, the first one is from Theodore Nobles. Let me do this one first.
Super chat received.
He says, hey, Ron, I live in Southeast Georgia. I just put down 007 Let's Go Pre-emergent in my backyard. Did I put it down a little bit too early? No. If anything, in my opinion, you're on a little bit late. I would have done it mid-September, at the if you're doing what I do. So yeah, doing it, you're definitely not too early. If anything, a little bit biasing more towards the late side. So again, thanks for the super chat. Good thing is you got it down, which is the important thing. And we'll know, if you start getting some breakthrough, then, next year, do it, a week or two earlier. All right, we have another super chat. This one is from Rich V, just saying hello.
Super chat received.
He says, hey, y'all. Greetings. Thanks for coming to hang out, Rich. And scrolling back up to where I left off, which is the hardest part of this, we are now back to Jim. Where did I leave off? Oh, yeah, Jim Crackcorn. Here we go. He says, in Augusta, Georgia, a heavily shaded backyard, 75%, wow, plus 75% plus percent in the winter, 50-50 in the summer, planted a tall, fine fescue and perennial rye mix in September. Yep. Do you think it's possible to keep it during the summer? Any advice if so? It's going to be left to be seen. I think the fescue, Jimmy, will do fine in the summer months, especially given the amount of shade you're talking about. If anything, it's going to be the ryegrass that in the hottest part of the summer may struggle a little bit. You know what I mean? So the fescue, there shouldn't be a problem with that at all, given that you're 50-50 shade in the summer months. It's just going to be the ryegrass. So I think you're going to be good, man. Again, I haven't seen pictures of your lawn, but based on what you're saying, the fescue will deal with the summer fine, and then the ryegrass might be the only thing you may have to be concerned with. Just make sure you keep enough water on it so it doesn't dry out. And if you're going to be fertilizing during the summer, use a slower release nitrogen and higher potassium fertilizer like the Stress 12024 that we carry on the golf course lawn store. And outside of that, just mow it and enjoy it. That's what I would do. Good stuff. Thanks for the question. And let me make a note of that. That's because that was a good one. And yeah, if you have any other questions, let me know. I'll also get you a link here in a second to the to where you can find that, to where you can find the fertilizer I'm talking about for the summer months. So actually, if you go to the golf course lawn store, you go to shop, you go to lawn fertilizer. This is the one that I would use, the Stress 12024. That one during the summer months, June, July, maybe August would be that'd be a safe bet. So hope that helps, sir. And keep us posted as far as how your lawn project does. All right, and there is your link to the 12024. All right, next up is Devin. He says, it's not quite on Robert's rye level, mowing at 1 1/4 inches going into winter. We'll use the GM 1000 at 3/4 of an inch starting next spring. See, I told you, when I tell you, Robert, he's sandbagging, man. He's showing you this and he's like saying, yeah, man, I don't know, Robert's doing really good. I may just have to just not even try. I'm just out there with my little 5-blade, just, trying to keep it doing the best I can, giving her all I can. But then next year is going to be game on. That's what it's going to be. But I got to tell you, Robert, you're off. You have definitely set the standard, man. You are off to man, that looks good. You're off to a good start. See, now I regret not doing it. I regret not doing some part of the lawn in ryegrass because, man, that looks good. Great color. All right, Joseph Duque says, should I kill weeds at this point in the season? You can, if they're actively growing, you can, Joseph. It's going to take longer this time of year to kill weeds than if you did that in, say, the summer months. So you can, yes, herbicides just take longer to work when it's cooler out versus when it's the time of year for that weed when it's growing more aggressively. So yeah, the big thing I would say is first thing is identify what kind of weed you have in your lawn, and then find a selective herbicide that is designed to target that. And if you want a couple of guides here on weeds, like how to identify weeds, identifying the weeds that could destroy your lawn. So this one, along with a couple others, but this lists crabgrass, a lot of the common ones you might come across: clover, nutsedge, chickweed. So you can go through this and you can see, hey, which one of these do I have? There's also some other there's other content on here as well as that also covers different weeds as well, that lists a lot of different weeds as well. So an easy way, honestly, to figure out what kind of weed you have is just to take a picture of it. Take a picture of it and then go to Google image search and throw it in there, and it'll compare it to like the thousands and millions of other pictures of that particular plant on the internet, and it'll tell you, hey, I think it is this. So that's another way you can identify it, in addition to checking out the knowledge base on the Golf Course Lawn Store. So hope that helps, Joseph. Appreciate the question. And no, it is not too late to kill weeds. As long as they're still growing, you can absolutely target them. Just make sure you have your expectations in line with it's going to take longer for them to die off. Like herbicides, everything, all of that stuff works slower whenever as temps get cooler. So, all right. Next up, we has BB Nin. BB Nin says, "Hey Ron, as of right now, should I be using a two-way seasonal insect control granule as a long-term preventative over the winter months?" So when it comes to insecticide, BB, I primarily do them in the springtime, so like April timeframe, and then again you can also apply an insecticide in August timeframe. September, October. I mean, it's a little bit later in the season. If you have reason to believe that there's you have an insect problem, that there's some damage you're potentially seeing, yeah, there's no problem with applying an insecticide now. I would have done it a bit earlier than now. Like I've done it in August timeframe if your goal is to have control into the fall months. And then again in the springtime is when I would also do another insecticide application. I don't know what two-way insecticide product you're talking about, but just check the label. The label may have some guidance saying, hey, this is the times of year that we recommend that you do this at these rates, and based on that, you can make your application. The insecticide that I use and like is one called a Celiprin. This is excellent for a lot of the common insects that damage our turf. So your grubs, your bluegrass weevils, any kind of turf caterpillar, so armyworms, sod webworms. It takes care of all of these. So an application of a Celiprin in the April timeframe, and then again in the August timeframe is pretty much all you should need for the year to keep your lawn damaging insect free. So hope that helps, sir. I'll send you a link to where you can find a Celiprin in case you want to read some more about it and see if it's right for you. But I don't know what two-way seasonal product you're talking about. But I mean that could work as well too. It could work just fine too. Just check the label and see what guidance they provide as far as usage. All right. Next up, we have Trilla. Nope, that's not true. Except we have Josue. See, I got better. See, I was totally like savagely destroying your name last week, but now I remembered. It's Josue, because last time I was saying Joshua and Jesu, or I was like just totally butchered up your name, but it's Josue. See? Getting better. So I'm starting to get what looks like webs in the grass. Is that a lawn fungus or something I should be concerned about? It could be dollar spot, Josue. It could be. If you're really concerned about it, apply a fungicide, one that has propiconazole in it, like Headway G, or if you like liquids, you could go with a product like Pillar SC. This will also take care of dollar spot. This time of year, I am a fan of doing preventative fungicide applications. So I did one at the beginning of October. I'm gonna do another one probably next weekend, which is gonna correspond to the beginning of November, and that's going to do a lot for helping keep diseases out of your turf. So if you're looking for insecticides and fungicides, I will send you that now. Again, Headway G if you prefer granular products, Pillar SC if you prefer liquids. Of the two, Pillar SC is going to work faster because you can literally apply it and water it in. It doesn't have to break down like a granule does. So if you're good with either, you don't really have a preference, I would say Pillar. So there you go. You can find them both there. Hope that helps. Trilla in Manila says, "Happy Friday, Ron and Sharp Action Gang, and congrats on your invite to compete in the white belt trial. I missed the live stream last week, but I watched the replay." It's a big honor getting a chance to go to getting invited to go to Masters Camp. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of abuse, but hey, looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting treated like a white belt all over again. It's fun. It's fun times, right? All right, next up is Polly Flores saying, "Hi." Hello, Polly. Hope you're doing all right. Cliff Smith says, "Good to see you, bro. Stay strong." I appreciate it. Thank you. And then next up is Brandon Henry. He says, my cousin. He says, "Hey, Ron, hope all is well. I have cool season lawn, Kentucky bluegrass. I use a few products on my lawn: Primo Tenacity, Stay Green, Max Nitrogen Fertilizer, and POA Herbicide. Any other product suggestions?" It depends. What are you trying to accomplish? So it looks like you've got growth regulator, Primo, like that. You got a herbicide, a good post-emergent herbicide. You got a Stay Green Max. I'm guessing that's a granular. I don't know, or maybe it's a liquid. I don't know. But you got a fertilizer, and then you have a herbicide for POA. So, I mean biostimulants. I don't see that mentioned here. So, like, if you want to like add to that, what I would say is if you go to shop and then go to Miramichi Green Biostimulants, Essential G, always a fan favorite. It's a great option for improving your soil quality. It's going to increase the amount of organic material you have. It's going to help your fertilizer work better. Like, this is a great addition to any lawn care program. So I would say that. And then if you're fine with spraying liquids, which you are, because you have Primo and you have Tenacity, then I would say the Carbon Kit, which contains a liquid carbon product, micronutrient, a kelp product, and then also a soil microbial food. So between either the Release Zero Carbon Kit or the 901C Carbon Kit, depending on if you want a product that has fertilizer in it, and Essential G, you're going to be in pretty good shape. So Essential G or the Miramichi Green Carbon Kit, either of those would be what I would add to your lawn care program, because it sounds like you're doing a lot of the right things. You've already got you've got like a package that you like. So if you're getting the results that you like with it, keep rolling with it. And then add and supplement that with biostimulants. And you can find those, Brandon, right here. So at Brandon Henry, you can get them right there. All right, Progression Decibel is up next. He says, "Earlier you showed Pillar SC. I have propiconazole. You recommend a blanket spray on Bermuda. Can you mix propiconazole and Barricade 4L in the same tank? Already laid down preamp, but miss a few spots." So yes, so Pillar SC. So so if you already have propiconazole, then I would use that. You've already got it. Use what you got, and because that has control against dollar spot. Can you mix propiconazole and Barricade, which is prodiamine, and spray them at the same time? Yes. So you can mix them. You can spray them at the same time. And the nice thing is that because they're both, for the most part, you're going to water both those in. Then yeah, that's going to work great. So yes, you can mix them together, and you can spray them at the same time. Especially if you're blanket spraying, that's the way to go if you're going to be doing your pre-emergent and you also want to do a fungicide app. So I hope that helps, Progression. Good call. Good call. You already got it. All right, next up we have Tom B. Tom B says, "Hey Ron, thanks so much for the advice for my sister in Hilton Head this week. I think with the basics, she can transform her yard into something special." Here's the thing, Tom. The biggest thing is she cares about it, right? Like, once you start paying attention to it, and if she's willing to put the work in, which it sounds like she is, she sounds like she's kind of a little bit competitive, which is kind of helpful. It's kind of a helpful trait to have when it comes to lawn care. then once she has the how, which I think we've given her a pretty good start on that, then it's just executing on it, right? Just that and time. It's just consistency and time once you have a good plan. And yeah, so be sure to point her to like the blog post, the knowledge base. There's tons of great content there. But in a nutshell, I'm not sure if she's watched the live stream, but in a nutshell, you want to know how you get a great lawn. It really comes down to these 5 simple things, and really it's 4, but doing the 4 well results in the 5th one, and it's this. So step 1 is to get rid of weeds, control weeds in your lawn. Step 2, do a soil test. Don't discount the importance of that, because this is going to give you the answers to the test as far as what should I be putting on my lawn. So step 1, eliminate weeds. Step 2, do a soil test. Based on those soil test results, go to the golf course lawn store and buy fertilizer that is the correct fit for your particular lawn. Apply said fertilizer. And then step 4, which is the area where most people tend to fall, tend to slack up a little bit. So this is kind of fun, getting rid of weeds. That's kind of cool because you get to see pretty much, I would say, instant results, but within a few weeks you see results from that. Doing a soil test, that's more of like a thing of faith, because you do that, you get your results from it, and it's not necessarily making your lawn greener, but it's going to give you the information you need to get your lawn greener. Fertilizing, this is the one that everyone loves doing, but then mowing, and then mowing some more. You're doing that before you do all these other things regularly is going to help results in this. If you do all these things, it's practically impossible for you to not have a great looking lawn. So your sister's got the tools. She knows, if she has any questions, you can always send her my way, or you can bounce ideas off of me. But yeah, all she's got to do is start working on it and just stay consistent. And it can't help but get better if you do that. Can't help but get better. And then Devin says, yeah, we're almost on the same wavelength, Devin and I. He says, Brandon Henry, sounds like you got all your bases covered. I consider some soil product, humic, and seaweed products will help a lot with what you already got doing. See, interesting. I didn't see what he wrote already, because I literally don't scroll down too far because I'll get lost. So literally we're here. You and me, we're here. I could just get you to go get Bermuda grass. If you can move to the southeast and get Bermuda grass or zoysia, then it'd be perfect. But I guess we'll take what we can get. But yeah, that's the only thing that's really, I wouldn't say missing, but that's the only thing I could say would be the next step for you, Brandon, because you've already got a lot. What you're doing is already looking pretty solid. You got like a decent program already. All right, next up is Dave Horde. He says, did you try backlapping on the Real Roller Evolution? Wondering how efficient that is on their new machine. I did not backlap it myself. If you saw, because the mower I was filming was already sharp. But as far as the process for backlapping, it's really easy. Like there's you take one cover off that's like a chain guard that covers the chain. I think it's a 1/2 inch socket. I think that you put that on the bolt that one of the sprockets that the chain is connected to that drives the reel, and just run it and spin it backwards. Like there's nothing to disassemble other than taking that cover off. You take the cover off and then put a drill on it, and then you're backlapping. You know what I mean? So it's pretty easy. The only mower that's probably easier than that is my Outlet, and that's because it's an electric. And with that one, all it is, you hook up a control box and press a button, and the reel spins backwards. So for a gas-powered mower, it doesn't get a whole lot easier than what you are, what the Revolution is doing. I think Toros, like the newer Toros, are also pretty easy to backlap as well too. But yeah, that mower is not difficult. Not difficult to do at all, Dave. I did not backlap it myself personally, but if you look at the video, the launch video for that mower on Real Roller's YouTube channel, you will see a section in there where they show it being backlapped. And that's what the process is like. Literally, it's a drill on like one of the drive cogs and spin it, like run it backwards, and then just you put your lapping compound, and away you go. So it's pretty easy compared to say other mowers, like doing like backlapping a true cut. Whew, you'll only do that once or twice. It's a huge hassle. Whereas that is it's simple. The process is easy enough that it's not gonna make you not want to do it. How's that? That's probably the best way to answer your question. Next up is Mark Luna. Mark says, hey, Ron, hit that like button. Hashtag Stripe Gang. Crazy weather in Austin. Yeah, you guys, it was cool and now it's hot. Because I know that the track temperature at Circuit of America was in the 90s. They were saying like high 80s, 90s when the commentators were talking about, oh, it's so hot here in America. It's like 30 something Celsius, which is like 90 degrees. It's too hot. And I'm like, 90s, that's not we love that. We'd love to have that here in Georgia right now, but oh well. Frazical is back. He says, hey, Ron, thanks for saying that the lawn is not always perfect and that lawn care is a journey. That so much puts all this lawn fetishes into perspective. It is, man. It's like anything else. You don't, like, it's the chase. You know what I mean? The chase is what is the fun part. The journey is the fun part. It's not like yes, getting an amazing lawn. Yes, having the neighbors come by. Yes, having people stop by and be like, hey, is this fake grass? You're like, no, it's actually real grass. You know, that's fun. But it's the process. It's the process of doing it. You know what I mean? And again, it's never perfect. Here's case in point. Look at Augusta National, which if you want to see, at least that I've personally experienced, I'm sure there may be grass that's better than Augusta National, but I've not personally experienced that myself. If you want to see perfection, and you want to see when you have like an unlimited checkbook, what you can make grass look like, go to Augusta Nationals during the Masters. But here's the thing. Even with all the money that they have and like the best turf care professionals that work on that course, it only really looks like that during that time of the year, during the April timeframe when they have the Masters. If fun fact, if you look at how the Masters looked whenever COVID was happening and they had to do the tournament later on in the year, it didn't look near. I mean, it looked good. It still looked better than most golf courses that you see on a weekend on the PGA Tour, but it didn't look like how it looked in April. So even with a course, think about it, even unlimited money, unlimited resources, they can get anything they want, any equipment they want, any products they want, they have the best grass seed, literally everything is they got an open checkbook. Even with that, there's a limited time in the year when the course looks the way it looks, like that incredible. So even with that, when, again, not to repeat myself, but even when you have like unlimited resources when it comes to grass with lawn care, grass, it's like everything else in life. Like there's cycles, and for my particular lawn, the June time frame is when it's a thing of beauty. Like late June, the first week of July, that's when my lawn looks at its absolute best. Before then, it's kind of moving up to that, and then after that, it's slowly. I mean, I can see it because I'm really picky. It's slowly falling away from that. So really, out of an entire year, I would say I get like 3 weeks of what I would consider my personal standard of perfection for my particular lawn. You know what I mean? So just enjoy it, man. Enjoy the fact that it's always something to be. And here's the thing: even then, there's still some areas that aren't looking their absolute best, right? But I'm talking about like the main lawn, like the back lawn, the area that I care about the most, like that in. For a 3 week period in June, July is when it's looking pretty awesome. So enjoy it. Don't try and probably the best advice I could give anyone that's getting into lawn care and doing it yourself is your lawn didn't get to where it was overnight. So it's not reasonable that you're going to fix it overnight. Like if you're overweight and you're trying to get fit, like you can't go to the gym and go work out for 24 hours and then walk out with a 6-pack. It just doesn't work that way, right? It's like, it's consistent work over time. It's the same thing with lawn care. Like my lawn, I've been working on it on this particular lawn for like 9 years now, right? And it's gotten better and better and better every year. Like last year when I got the Allet and I was able to start adding in more cultivation practices like regular turf raking and verticutting, that took what was already good and like raised it another notch, right? So there's always something you can do to make it better. And that's what you should find the enjoyment in, I think. It's the chase. The chase is what you should enjoy, not necessarily the lawn like being like super awesome, because it even looks super awesome. It's not going to stay that way. Something's going to happen. You'll mess up a fertilizer app. A mole will invade your lawn. There's something crazy will happen, and you'll be fixing it, right? So just enjoy the process. You won't drive yourself quite as crazy if you do that. And what's nice, that means when you make a mistake, you can always fix it, right? It's just grass. You can always fix it. All right, Don't Tread on Me says, use sedge armor if that's what it is. Or I think you mean Sedgehammer, if it's a sedge. Yeah, Sedgehammer. Sedgehammer is a great product. I would use that if you have a cool season lawn. If you have a warm season lawn, I would say Certainty. I like Certainty for sedge control in warm season turf more than I do Sedgehammer. Works a bit faster and also gives you control for Poanua too, which is nice. All right. Next up is Gary Kellett Jr. He says, hey, Ron, I went old school this week watching your videos. I was laughing when I watched your Milorganite series. Yeah, that was. I was just having fun. That was a fun series. When I was doing like, hey guys, morning. It's 40 something degrees out here in April. It's kind of crazy. I remember that when I was doing that series. I was really irritated because it was April and it was a unusually, unseasonably cool spring, and it was messing with like my grass green up. It was slowing it down. So you could see I was pretty irritated in that video, in those videos. So yeah, it's good times. Good times. Adam Carter says, would it be okay for me to put some iron on the zoysia? I have ironite. You could, Adam, but here's the thing, man. It's a brand new lawn. It's a brand new zoysia lawn. If you want to put a little bit of iron on it, fine. But listen, it's it's just gonna be a time thing. I know you may not want to hear this, but it's a newly sodded lawn in October, which is not the ideal time to sod zoysia if you want a bunch of growth out of it. It's fine. It's still going to root in. It's not going to die. It's going to be okay. But it's not the time to try and push a bunch of growth or to try to get, a whole lot out of it this time of year. If you want to do anything, continue to water it regularly, not too much, water it regularly. If you want to help improve the soil quality, put down like a granular biostimulant, I'd be fine with that. But, fertilizing it and doing a bunch of other stuff, just not, this isn't the time of year to really start pushing a lot of that, I mean, ironite, sure, fine. If you want to put a little iron application down, okay. But here's what I don't want you to do. The reason why I'm trying to dissuade you from that is I don't want you to put down ironite and be like, it's not looking that great. Maybe I should do more. Or maybe I should do a little bit of fertilizer because it can quickly escalate. It can quickly be just, you start out with some ironite, and the next thing you know, you're talking to me and I'm like, hey, I'm spraying straight urea on the lawn because I want to get it to grow, and I don't want it to escalate to that. So if you want to do only ironite and just leave it at that, that's okay. But don't, like it needs time. It's just going to be a time thing at this point. It's a brand new lawn that was sodded in. It's a brand new zoysia lawn that was sodded in October. So patience is going to be the order of the day in your case. All right, next up is Robert Rainey. Robert Rainey says, looks good, Devin. There goes Ron making a competition again. I cut rye with the rotary and then introduced the reel 4 weeks later. Went from the single wide double checker to the double wide diamond. Yeah, looks pretty good. Nice, good. Looks good, Devin. Yeah. I mean, that's a good compliment. I mean, it's the equivalent of someone when you're golfing with your friends and they hit a drive, they hit like a 250-yard drive, and you're about to lay one down, it's like 275, 280. I'm like saying they drive first, nice ball. And then that's kind of like what that's like the equivalent of nice ball, what Robert's saying to Devin. So I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun for us to watch, guys. These two titans. One was first warm season only, but now he's stepping in, he's gone up in weight class and has gone into the cool season division. Should be a fun time. So here's the thing, Robert. I will say this. What we will make this fair too is whenever the contest starts, right? When we decide to do it, you should take pictures like now. Take pictures whenever your lawn is looking its absolute best that you want to submit, because you have to realize that there's going to be a difference in weather, right? So when Devin's lawn is going to peak is not going to be the same time when your lawn is going to peak. So whenever you decide, you figure out, my package, my portfolio that I want to submit, then go and take those pictures. You don't have to they don't have to all be taken within like a week of each other, because it's not really fair given you're in different parts of the country and different climate and this kind of stuff. Yeah, man, it's all fun. It is all in good fun. We're just, I'm just giving you guys a hard time. Anything I can do to get you guys to have better lawns and just have some fun while we're at it, why not? It's all fun and games. Okay, Larry's up next. He says, I see spurge sprouts and some sort of plant growing from the topsoil compost mix that I pull out. Even have Bermuda showing. When can I spray for these after the lawn thickens up? 2 or 3 mows? Yeah. And if it's spurge, what I would say, Larry, is go with Celsius. Again, Celsius and wrong camera. Celsius and surfactant, like this combo, will do a great job on the spurge. With the temperatures being cooler, it is going to take longer to work. But yeah, this is what I would use on a relatively new lawn. This is a great product, highly unlikely to injure your grass if you spray it at the the correct rates. So it's one of the beautiful things about Celsius, and it is labeled to control spurge along with a bunch of other broadleafs. So that is what I would go with. Phi Dip says, I put an order in for the Revolution 26. Thanks to your recommendation, we will clap it up for that. You haven't got the mower yet. We'll still do that. All right. And he says, is there anything I should do? Why did I not hear the sound? I thought I heard the sound. Why am I not hearing the sound? I don't know what's going on. All right. At any rate, he says, is there anything I should do to prep my lawn between now and when I start real mowing for the first time in the spring, or jump right in? There's not, as far as a lot of prep, not really. I'm trying to think. So what would I do on a brand new lawn before I start putting a real mower on it? Okay. So for next year, if you still have a rotary, if you are, say your lawn's sitting at like 3 inches right now, if you have a rotary that you can use to bring the height of cut down to where you're planning on maintaining the lawn, I would use the rotary to do that. Like I wouldn't take a brand new reel mower and use it to scalp a lawn. Like you're just putting a bunch of wear and tear on the reel and bad knife, and why? Why do that with a brand new mower? So if you have a rotary, I would use that to get the height of cut down to closer to where you want it, and then start with the Revolution 26. The other advice I would tell you is don't get too aggressive on your height of cut choice. You'll listen to some folks that'll be like, oh, I'm cutting my Bermuda grass at like, a third of an inch, or I'm cutting it a quarter of an inch. And in most cases, they really aren't, because to actually maintain Bermuda at that height of cut is a tremendous amount of work. It literally takes mowing every day, even with growth regulator, to keep it looking good. So pick a height of cut to start with that's sensible, 1 inch. You work your way down to 3/4 of an inch. I will tell you that having mowed my lawn at 1 inch, 1.25 inches, and having mowed my lawn at under 1/2 inch, that I find between 5/8, so 0.625, and 3/4 of an inch, 0.75, like that for me is the Goldilocks zone when it comes to real mowing heights of cut. Because on my particular lawn, the kind of Bermuda grass that I have, the color still looks really good at 3/4 of an inch, between 5/8 and 3/4 of an inch. It stripes better then. You're less likely to have scalping issues. So just overall, there's a lot of benefits to it. And as far as the mowing requirements, it's not quite as bad when you're at 3/4 of an inch versus when you're at like 1/2 inch or below that, So for those reasons, I would say, start at a sensible height and then find out what's going to work for you, what looks good on your particular grass type. I think 3/4 of an inch is a safe target. And again, congrats on the Revolution 26. Why are my sound effects not working? I don't know what's going on. Hopefully you guys can still hear them. I don't know what's going on with sound effects. I may have to fix that. Let me see. Let me see if this music is playing. Does that work? I'm not sure if you guys are hearing that or not. Yeah, I don't know. All right, something to troubleshoot after this is over. All right, next up is Devin. He says, "I love the turf. I love the fun. I'm a fan of the single checker pattern myself. I have always loved the classic baseball infield look, but the doubles look really good too." Yeah, I agree with that. The doubles do look pretty fire. Yeah, diamonds are good, man. Diamonds are good. I like the checkerboard. It's more uniform, Devin. It's also easier for me to burn those stripes in, because with the checkerboard, I have like an index point. I can always hit the same lines each time. With diamonds, I don't know how easy it would be to do that. Maybe you can try that. Nah, I don't know. Maybe have to consider trying that next year. Maybe keep the lines going away from the house still there, and then introduce like a diamond. Maybe. What do you guys think? Try that for next year. I'll have to see. And Devin says, "I agree. The best part is trying new products and cultural practices. I enjoy using my yard as a test plot for my course. See how far things can be pushed. The long game is all about the process and the journey." Yep, I agree. That's exactly it. If you're someone that says, all I want is green grass and I'm after green grass, you're going to be very frustrated when it comes to lawn care, because you can get it green, but then like, how green is green enough? Because once you get it green, it's going to be, what can I do to get it just a little bit greener? More iron, more this, more that. You're never gonna be happy. Never gonna be happy with it. So, all right. Next up, we have Adam Carter. Adam Carter. He says, "Which would you put down on the Zoysia? Essential G, Carbonized PN, or Carbon Pro G?" Okay, so those are all very different. Of the three, Essential G is what I would go with. Carbonized PN and Carbon Pro G are similar in the sense that Carbon Pro G is essentially biochar and compost and a microbial package. Carbonized PN is biochar and compost. Whereas Essential G, which is the new kid on the block, is biochar, compost, reclaimed coffee grounds. It's got some silicon in it, and it's also got humate in it. So you can think of Essential G as like the successor, or Carbon Pro G 2.0. Whereas where a better comparison, like comparing carbonized PN, Carbon Pro G, and Humachar, like those three products, I think are a more fair or closer comparison versus Essential G. Essential G is like a thing of its own. It's the newest of all the ones that you listed there, and of those, I would use Essential G if it were me. That's what I use on my lawn. And you said of those three, cool. And yeah, that's what I would go with. I'm trying to see, guys, we're winding down here. It's gonna be a shorter night tonight, which kind of happens in the fall, like less lawn care questions, less people care about it. Next up is Tom Hoffenkamp. This is gonna be our last question or comment of the evening, where he says, "You reminded me, cute fake grass story. Lady down the street saying hi to my wife, standing in front of the lawn. I turn on the sprinklers after I mow. She says, 'Why do you why do you water it to clean it off?'" That's cool. That's kind of cool. I've never heard that one, Thomas. So she thought your grass was fake. She just kind of, you're washing the dirt off because she says there's no way that could be real grass, right? Yeah, it's always a point of pride. The fake grass is always a cool question. And then when people are just walking by and I watch them on the cameras and they stop and pause and they go down to try and touch it, like the delivery people, that's always a point of pride too. I really enjoy that as well. So yeah. Well, guys, actually, I've got one more here, one from Aaron T. He says, "If you got the time, send an email. Wondering if you could take a look at my soil test. Any advice on balancing strategy to increase opportunities? Iron is crazy high. Anything I can do to decrease it?" I'm going to look for your soil test here, Aaron. As far as decreasing iron, not really. Just don't add more of it. Because so here's the thing: can you decrease the iron levels in your soil? Yes, but you can't do it in a vacuum. So if you want to decrease the iron levels over time, you can just start bagging your clippings, and that is going to take nutrient out of the lawn. It's a slower process. What I would say is just don't really worry about it, and just don't add products that don't go out and spray like Feature on your lawn. Don't go spray ironite. Don't apply ironite. Don't apply like iron only products if your iron is already high. That's what I would say. Just stop adding to it versus trying to take it away, because there's not really an easy way to do that without affecting the other nutrient levels. Okay, so we'll do two things here. First of all, he sent me the soil test, and he also sent a lawn photo picture, aptly labeled lawn photo. So this is his soil test. All right, this is his soil test right here. So the first one, let me get this off here. The one on the left is spring of 2023. All nutrient levels are on the low side. And then, let me get Ben off of here. And then on the right side, fall of 2023, he did another soil test, and we can see we're making progress, right? Your pH, you've corrected, which is the thing I am most proud of. Nice work. Very good. Your nitrogen is still a bit low. Your phosphorus is low, but the potassium's looking better. And your micros and other nutrients are also looking better. So you still got to work on zinc, copper, boron, but overall, this is progress. So from a directional standpoint, it would be safe to say that where you are in the spring, where you started in the spring, both from a soil pH level and a nutrient level, you're in a better position now in the fall based on the work that you did. So good. This is awesome. This is exactly why doing a soil test you're a poster child for this, Aaron. Like when I say you do one in the spring and then do one in the fall, because it allows you to measure the effectiveness of your nutrient program and it gives you like data going forward. Like this is a perfect example of it. You saw where you were in the spring. It's only up from there based on what we're looking at. And then based on, it looks like you did a pH adjustment, and the other aspects of your fertilization program, you can see how things have gotten better. So that's the magic. That's the beauty of soil testing. So great work. Like how things are looking. And then as well, he sent the obligatory lawn photo showing how the lawn was in the spring, which, it could be better. And then where it is now in the midsummer of 2023, and that's progress, right? Which is exactly what you want. Which is why I say, lawn care is a journey. It's not a destination. The trend is definitely better. Like I think anyone, even if you're not into lawn care, would look at these two pictures and say the one on the left is not as good as the one on the right. The one on the right is definitely better. It's objectively better than the one on the left, and that's due to your nutrient program. I'm sure you're mowing it more, you're taking better care of it, you're paying more attention to it, and your lawn looks better as a result. So awesome work, great stuff, love it, love it, love it. Thank you for sending the soil test results. You proved my point of why you want to do that, why you want to get one in the spring and get one in the fall, for that very reasons. You can see, hey, I'm doing all this stuff. Is it making a difference? What should I focus more on going forward next year? Because you're going to be doing this, for a long time. You're not going to be just doing it for one season. Cool. And then Larry says, can you give a link to the soil test kit? I can. You know what? I can. Normally I don't do that, Larry, but just because it's you and you asked, we'll make an exception. So for the soil test kits, there's a couple of different ones to get. I'll show you. If you go to shop and then soil test kits and pH adjustments, what I would say is if you've never used one before, get this one. Get the starter pack, because the starter pack comes with the probe tool, comes with this guy, which is super awesome, but you only have to buy this one once. And then going forward, you can just get the individual soil test kits, because you're going to have the probe tool to get your cores. You don't need that again. Or if you want to be good for, like, say, a year, you could get the Pro Pack, which comes with the probe and then 2 soil test kits. So you got one for the spring, one for the fall, and the tool to collect your samples. So I will send this to you, Larry. You can choose which one is best for you. I would go with either the starter pack or the Pro Pack if you don't already have a way to collect cores. That is what I would go with. So here we go. Boom. That's where you can get it, and you'll be all set. And then James Kelly says, thanks once again, Ron. You're very, very welcome. Well, guys, gal, I don't know what happened to my sound effects, but they're not working. So I will try and cue the outro music, but I don't think it's going to, you're going to hear it. So just have to imagine you're hearing what it would normally sound like. Thank you guys so much for taking some of your time on Friday to hang out with me. It's a slower time of year, so it's just cool to sit here and rap about what happened throughout the season, the before and afters of your project, and also start looking forward to 2024. It's going to be here before you know it. I mean, we're in mid-October, so you've got November, December, and then January. So we're not going to be that long off before we're going to be putting down pre-emergent and getting out there and getting ready to get the lawn looking its best for 2024. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you guys next week. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. Take care.